Chapter 1885. Yu Wenqiu angrily shouted. It was little brother Qiao Feng who saved me. Otherwise, I would have died a long time ago. I am no longer a disciple of the Heavenly Lake sect, and we have nothing to do with each other. Please stop bothering me. You bitch. You're happy to be played by others, but you're annoyed when you let your fellow disciples play with you. The Heavenly Lake sect has nurtured you all these years. You're simply ungrateful. Yu Zhong was just standing there and talking. Yu Wenqiu was so angry that she was about to cry. She didn't want to waste any more words with the beast in front of her. She wanted to pull Qin Feng away, but she found that Qin Feng was standing there without moving. Qin Feng's indifferent voice rang in her ears. Since you were once from the same sect as Big Sister Wenqiu, I'll give you a way out. Immediately kneel and kowtow 10 times, then slap yourself 10 times as an apology to Big Sister Wenqiu. Otherwise, only death awaits you. Qin Feng's domineering words stunned everyone, especially the 3 disciples behind Yu Zhong. They looked at Qin Feng as if they were looking at an idiot. They could see that Qin Feng was only at true spirit realm 4. They didn't know where this brat got his courage from to behave so atrociously in front of senior brother Yu Zhong, who was at the peak of the true spirit realm. Ha ha! Is there something wrong with your brain? You want me to kneel and apologize? Do you believe that I won't slap you to death with one palm? When Yu Zhong came back to his senses, he couldn't stop laughing. Halfway through his laughter, his expression became cold again. Junior brothers, you must have been eyeing Yu Wenqiu's beauty for a long time. How about we taste her together today? 2 of the 3 junior brothers were Yu Zhong's lackeys and usually listened to him. Now that there was such a good thing, the 2 of them jumped out without even thinking. Senior brother Yu Zhong is so righteous. He even thought of junior brothers for such a good thing. Senior brother Yu Zhong, why don't you play with Big Sister Wenqiu in front of that stinky brat? Just thinking about it makes me excited. The 2 of them lecherously looked at Yu Wenqiu, completely ignoring Qin Feng, who was standing to the side. The other junior brother felt that this was a bit inappropriate, but the current situation did not allow him to retreat. If he said anything against it, he would probably be killed by Yu Zhong in the next second. You bunch of beasts, you actually have such disgraceful thoughts? Yu Wenqiu found it hard to accept the reality before her eyes. When Yuan Tsang and the others had expressed such thoughts a few days ago, she had only been incomparably angry. Now, besides being angry, she felt even more incredulous. One had to know that the fellow disciples of the Divine Supreme Continent were like family to her. Now, her family was coveting her beauty. Were these people crazy? Such beastly behavior enraged Qin Feng, who had a transcendent state of mind. He casually waved his hand and a sword ray flashed. The sword ray was too fast. Before Yu Zhong could figure out what was going on, the 3 disciples standing next to him had already fallen to the ground. Poochie! The sound of the skin-cutting body was very soft, but it sounded like thunder in the silent valley. When he heard the sound of blood, Yu Zhong felt a strong sense of uneasiness. Then, he heard a loud explosion. The 3 junior brothers lying on the ground were already dead. You bitch, you dare to attack your fellow disciples? Yu Zhong suddenly looked at Yu Wenqiu. He thought it was Yu Wenqiu who had done it. On the other hand, Yu Wenqiu had a complicated expression on her face. Although she hated Yu Zhong and the others, they were all disciples of the same sect. Now that Qin Feng had killed them all, she couldn't put her feelings into words. You saw wrong. It was me who did it. Qin Feng's gaze fell on Yu Zhong's face. Yu Zhong suddenly felt a chill. When he met Qin Feng's gaze, he felt as if he had fallen into the 18th level of hell. He could not understand how this brat had cultivated such a strong killing intent. How many people did he have to kill to form such a strong killing intent? However, when he remembered that the opponent was only in the true spirit realm 4 and Yu Wenqiu was only in the true spirit realm 7, Yu Zhong immediately calmed down. Humph! Since a bitch like you is so heartless, don't blame me for being unintentional. I will first kill your wild man and then ruthlessly teach your body a lesson. When Yu Zhong attacked, a cold smile flashed through Yu Wenqiu's eyes. She was not worried about Qin Feng at all. It was as if she could already see Yu Zhong's miserable death. In just a few short seconds, Yu Wanqiu's mentality had undergone a complete change. The struggling and complicated emotions had completely disappeared. She knew that some people deserved to die. Rumble! A loud sound rang out. Just as she had guessed, Yu Zhong was unable to block Qin Feng's attack and his body exploded. Yu Zhong's eyes were filled with fear and disbelief. He was the same as Yuan Tsang and the other divine finger cultivators. He could not understand how Qin Feng could be so powerful. To the current Qin Fen, killing a peak true spirit realm cultivator wasn't worth mentioning. He couldn't even be bothered to look at Yu Zhong, and he didn't even take his storage ring because this kind of person made Qin Fen feel disgusted. The two of them had already flown dozens of miles away on their flying swords. Qin Feng had left in such a hurry because he was afraid of making Yu Wanqiu sad. However, he realized that he might have been thinking too much. Yu Wanqiu's complexion looked quite good. "Little brother Qiao Feng, there are many people over there. It seems to be the entrance to the 7th palace," Yu Wanqiu suddenly exclaimed. Qin Feng had already seen the situation a few hundred meters away. In the middle of a flat valley, there were hundreds of people gathered. The weakest among them was at the true spirit realm. There were 20 to 30 void god realm cultivators. There were also 5 or 6 auras that Qin Feng could not see through. The cultivation strength of the South Flat Continent shocked Qin Feng once again. He had encountered so many void god realm cultivators and cultivators of higher realms in just one exploration of the secret realm. If this kind of lineup was brought to the North Sand Continent, it would definitely shock the entire North Sand Continent. Qin Feng and Yu Wanqiu had been in the 6th palace for a day, but they had not gained anything. Aside from the spirit qi on this level being denser, there were pitifully few spirit herbs and spirit beasts. There were not even as many treasures as in the 5th palace. When the array to enter the 7th palace appeared in front of them, the two of them flew over without a second thought. "Everyone, don't fight. Please line up according to your sect and individual strength. The array in front of you is most likely the array to enter the 7th palace. The array can still last for an hour, so I believe everyone can be teleported in." As soon as they landed, a deep voice came from the sky. Qin Feng and Yu Wanqiu recognized the person who spoke. It was Wan Qifeng, who had organized everyone to enter the 5th palace a few days ago. At that time, everyone had said that this person was the young elder of the 6-star array sect, the 10,000 array sect. Qin Feng had not paid much attention to it. Now that he looked at Wan Qifeng, he discovered that this person's aura was as strong as the sea. He was one of the few experts in the crowd whose realms Qin Feng could not guess. Regardless of whether it was the 6-star array sect, the 10,000 array sect, or Wan Qifeng's identity, no one dared to offend him. Under Wan Qifeng's leadership, the rowdy crowd voluntarily lined up. When Qin Feng looked at the teleportation portal, he discovered that Wan Qifeng was right. This teleportation portal could still exist for a while, so it wouldn't be a problem to transport everyone in. Knowing this, Qin Feng did not mind. He and Yu Wanqiu lined up at the back of the crowd. After waiting for the time it took for 2 incense sticks to burn, it was their turn to enter. Qin Feng also grabbed Yu Wanqiu's lily-white hand and jumped into the array. When they opened their eyes again, their eyes shone brightly. The environment in front of them had changed greatly. They were in a medicine garden. This medicine garden was huge, and it was filled with all kinds of spirit grasses and spirit pearls. When they landed, they heard people shouting, "We're rich! We're rich! The lowest level spirit grass in this medicine garden is level 5, and there are more level 6 and level 7 spirit grasses. There are even level 8 and level 9 spirit grasses. I think I know where this is. This is not the 7th floor of the 13 palaces. This is the legendary secret realm of the 6th palace, the Medicinal Valley." "What? This is the Medicinal Valley? So the legends are true." When someone shouted, "Medicinal Valley," the cultivators who came in went crazy. Even Elder Wan Qifeng's eyes shone brightly. Wherever there were treasures, there would be fights. There were already a few groups of forces fighting over the spiritual herbs, and there were even a few cultivators in the middle stage of the nihility god realm. The huge commotion caused the entire small valley to shake. However, halfway through the fight, someone shouted loudly, "No! There is an array in this medicine garden. We can't get the spirit grasses at all." The people who were fighting suddenly woke up and stopped their attacks. A gray-haired old man suddenly jumped out of the crowd. His silhouette floated in the air. It was as if he was shrouded in a layer of fog, making it hard for people to see through him. When this person appeared, the crowd cried out in surprise. It was obvious that this person's identity was not to be underestimated. Qin Feng could already feel the boundless aura from his body. He was one of the few venerables whose realms he couldn't see through. Rumble! Under the little old man's seemingly soft palm, a small part of the medicine valley shook violently, but the palm did not destroy the spirit herbs in the medicine garden. A barrier of light appeared in the sky above the medicine garden, blocking the little old man's attack. It's actually a grade 9 defensive array? Which supreme being set up this array? Wan Qifeng's surprised voice rang out. This news caused a commotion among the crowd. The entire medicinal valley is covered by a grade 9 defensive array? What a great technique this is. There have long been rumors that the 13 palaces are just immortal treasures in the hands of the exalted immortals. I didn't believe it in the past, but now I'm a little convinced. Could it be that the exalted immortals really exist? In front of those people, even the 7-star sects of the South Flat Continent are ants. The medicinal garden protected by the grade 9 defensive array is like the moon in the water. We can see it but not touch it. Then why are we still wasting time in this mystic realm? The crowd's joy had mostly faded. Some even sighed. Coming to this mystic realm was simply a waste of time. Now, they didn't even know how to get out. The little old man who launched the attack had already landed on the ground with a bitter expression. Wan Qifeng sat cross-legged on the ground, as if he was refining array flags. When they knew that they couldn't get the spirit grasses in the medicinal valley, the sects who were fighting earlier stopped. The crowd started to search for the exit of the mystic realm. If they were trapped here for 2 months, then this expedition to the 13 palaces would be a waste. Chapter 1886. While everyone was busy with their own tasks, Qin Feng was observing the many herb gardens in the valley. Soon, he discovered some patterns. The herbs in these medicinal gardens were planted in different categories. Some medicinal gardens were filled with rank 5 spiritual herbs, while some were filled with rank 6 spiritual herbs. There were also some medicinal gardens that specialized in refining healing elixirs, while others were refining elixirs for advancement. After discovering these patterns, Qin Feng realized that this valley was definitely man-made. To be able to cultivate a herb garden in the secret territory of the 13 palaces, one could imagine how powerful the person behind the scenes was. For a moment, Qin Feng thought of the herb garden in the secret territory of the fallen god island, the mountain of life that he went to when he first entered the 13 palaces, and the secret territory of the 6th palace that he was in now. These places were all man-made, and they used these special environments to cultivate certain items. Such a powerful method shocked Qin Feng. He realized that he had only seen the tip of the iceberg of the divine continent. After these messy thoughts flashed through his mind, Qin Feng quickly calmed himself down. After exploring the herb garden of the fallen god island mystic realm, he realized that the herb valley before him was somewhat similar to the mystic realm. There was a protective array around the herb garden, but just as Wan Qifeng had said, the herb valley's array was a grade 9 defensive array. Qin Feng didn't think that he could break the level 9 defense formation. He knew that the spiritual herbs in the valley couldn't be taken away like the spiritual herbs in the herb garden on the fallen god island. Even if all the cultivators present attacked together, they couldn't break the level 9 defense formation. However, Qin Feng discovered some clues. There was another type of formation hidden within the rank 9 defense formation. As for what kind of formation it was, he was not sure yet, but the faint but real aura of the formation could not escape his eyes. I found the formation to leave the secret territory. Everyone, line up and leave in an orderly manner." A shout stirred the crowd. Everyone looked at Wan Qifeng. It turned out that he was refining formation flags to find the exit of the secret territory. A white light appeared in the void in front of Wan Qifeng. It was the same formation that everyone came in through. However, Wan Qifeng didn't jump into the formation first. He sat cross-legged on the ground and threw formation flags in all directions. "This formation was temporarily opened by me. I need to keep throwing formation flags and spirit stones to maintain it. I'll go out after you guys leave," Wan Qifeng said. Looking at his pale face, it seemed that maintaining the formation in front of him was difficult. The crowd immediately flew over, and many of them were very grateful. "I heard that Wan Qifeng's elder is modest and caring for all living beings. Today, I can see that it is indeed true. Thank you, Wan Qifeng. After the 13 palaces, Hu Chong from the Heavenly Rapier sect will personally pay you a visit. Let's not talk. Let's hurry and leave here to buy time for Wan first." Some of the cultivators had already jumped into the light wall, so the rest of the cultivators didn't have the time to thank Wan Qifeng. They immediately lined up and left. In just half an hour, all the cultivators in the Medicine Valley had left, leaving only Qin Feng and Yu Wanqiu, who were at the back of the line. When Yu Wanqiu walked to the side of the formation, she looked at Wan Qifeng gratefully. Then, she waited for Qin Fen to grab her hand again and leave this place together. "Cultivators! Wan, and Wan, Wan 2, Wan in. I can't hold on to this formation for much longer," Wan Qifeng said anxiously. Yu Wanqiu pulled Qin Feng's arm. Yu Wanqiu looked troubled. She quickly pulled Qin Fen's arm, but Qin Fen said, "Elder Wan Qifeng, my friend and I don't plan to go out. The spirit qi here is very dense. We plan to cultivate here." Yu Wanqiu and Wan Qifeng were stunned. The 13 palaces only opened once every 10 years and were only open for 3 months each time. Once the 3 months were up, all the cultivators would be teleported out. Plus, the number of people entering the 13 palaces was limited. Every cultivator who was lucky enough to enter the 13 palaces would race against time to enter the higher palaces or collect more spirit herbs and materials. Who would have thought that Qin Feng would do the opposite and actually plan to cultivate here? His idea was too strange. He was probably the only cultivator who thought this way. It was no wonder that even Wan Qifeng was shocked. However, Yu Wanqiu quickly came to her senses. Although she hadn't known Qin Feng for long, she knew that he was an extremely mysterious and mature man. Since he wanted to cultivate in the medicinal valley, he naturally had his reasons. Therefore, Yu Wanqiu didn't plan on going out. "Young Junior, your idea is very stupid. There are many treasures in the 13 palaces, and it was not easy for you to reach the 6th palace. Why don't you go outside to look for treasures and opportunities instead of wasting time here?" Wan Qifeng tried to persuade him. Qin Feng made up his mind and said firmly, "Thank you for your guidance, Elder Wan Qifeng, but I still plan on staying here." "Elder, you should leave quickly. Don't waste time here because of my stupidity." A cold glint flashed in Wan Qifeng's eyes. He suddenly stood up, and the light wall floating in the air disappeared. Yu Wanqiu was shocked and cried out involuntarily, "Not good! The formation to get out is gone! Elder Wan Qifeng, how are you going to get out now?" Yu Wanqiu didn't understand the situation. She thought that she and Qin Feng had caused Wan Qifeng to stay in the medicinal valley, so she immediately felt guilty. Qin Feng smiled and said, "Sister Wanqiu, don't blame yourself. Elder Wan Qifeng is a level 5 spirit array master, and it's not difficult for him to open the teleportation portal temporarily. With Elder Wan Qifeng's array skills, he can open the teleportation portal at any time." "Ah? Then why didn't he leave? He even told the others that he couldn't support the formation?" Yu Wanqiu was confused. Qin Feng acted as if he didn't see the coldness in Wan Qifeng's eyes and said, "Because he wanted to trick everyone and stay." "What? Why would he do that?" Yu Wanqiu couldn't understand. "Because he has a way to enter the medicinal garden." Wan Qifeng's eyes flashed with surprise, and he immediately stared at Qin Feng coldly. "Heh! You have exceeded my expectations. You can see through so many things in such a short time. But there is one thing I really don't understand. Since you know my intentions, why are you still staying here? Are you tired of living? Or do you want to fight with me over the spirit herbs here with a level 4 true spirit realm cultivation?" When Wan Qifeng admitted his intentions, Yu Wanqiu was shocked. As a native cultivator of the South Pingzhou state, she had naturally heard of Wan Qifeng's good name. This 10,000 array sex young elder was righteous and kind, and he was regarded as a model senior. She didn't expect him to have another ugly side. However, after Yu Wanqiu came to her senses, she began to think about Wan Qifeng's doubts. Even she couldn't figure out Qin Feng's intentions. Now that he stayed and exposed Wan Qifeng's plan, what else could it be other than seeking death? This time, Yu Wanqiu felt despair. Even though she had seen Qin Feng kill an early Void God Realm cultivator with her own eyes, Wan Qifeng was rumored to be an ultimate God Realm late Void God Realm cultivator. No matter how powerful Qin Feng was, he couldn't beat him. Qin Feng suddenly said, "There's nothing I can't figure out. No one wants to live too long because I'm confident that you won't be able to kill us." Wan Qifeng's expression turned cold, and he suddenly clapped his hands. The distance of more than 10 meters seemed to no longer exist. Almost at the same time he clapped, a powerful palm wind swept through the space where Qin Feng and Yu Wanqiu were standing. The empty space exploded into a huge crater, and the air exploded continuously. Wan Qifeng's expression changed greatly as he looked at the empty space in disbelief. However, Qin Feng's cold voice came from a herb garden on his right. "I said that you can't kill us, and this medicinal valley doesn't belong to you alone. I will help you take away most of the spiritual herbs here. You don't have to thank me." Qin Feng was in a herb garden with level 6 spiritual herbs. When he saw this scene, Wan Qifeng's eyes almost fell out of their sockets. He cried out involuntarily, "You are also a level 5 spirit array master? How is this possible?" It turned out that Wan Qifeng had also discovered the secret of the medicinal valley. This was also the reason why he had tricked the others and stayed behind. Among the many herb gardens in the medicinal valley, there was not only a level 9 defense array, but there was also a hidden level 5 transportation array that could transport cultivators into the herb garden. However, Wan Qifeng had never expected that the inconspicuous Qin Feng would actually be a level 5 spirit array master. He was not even 40 years old, so how did he become a level 5 spirit array master? One had to know that even Wan Qifeng, who was born in a 6-star spirit array sect in the South Flat Continent and had received the full support and resources of the sect, only became a level 5 spirit array master when he was 50 years old. Sensing that the situation had changed, Wan Qifeng immediately threw out array flags around the herb garden Qin Feng was in. However, before the array formation was formed, Qin Feng's cold voice sounded, "Don't try to enter my herb garden. Otherwise, when you are teleported, I will change the array at the last minute. At that time, it will be hard to say where you will be teleported to." Wan Qifeng's movements stopped abruptly, and he glared at Qin Feng with eyes that wanted to devour him. "Good! What a good grandson of an ant! This old man will remember you today. You better not fall into this old man's hands. Otherwise, I will make you wish you were dead." With a furious roar, Wan Qifeng did not linger. He quickly ran to another herb garden and prepared to enter. Qin Feng heaved a long sigh of relief. His actions this time could be said to be abnormally dangerous. If Wan Qifeng really wanted to force his way into the herb garden, no one could predict what would happen in the end. When she found out that a late-stage Void Spirit Realm cultivator had been scared away by Qin Feng, Yu Wanqiu did not know what to say. She could also see that Qin Feng could not defeat Wan Qifeng. Otherwise, with his decisive character, there would be no need for him to hide in the level 9 defense array. Chapter 1887. Yu Wanqiu quickly ignored the fact that Qin Feng had tricked Wan Qifeng because she was stunned by the level 6 spirit herb garden in front of her. This was the first time she had seen so many level 6 spirit herbs in all her life. Miraculous fruit, ancient cloud flower, bitter ground grass, agave orchid. There were also many spirit herbs that even Yu Wanqiu couldn't recognize. Little brother Qiao Feng, there are so many level 6 spirit herbs here. Let's quickly collect them. Yu Wanqiu knew that Qin Feng was an elixir king, so these spirit herbs were very important to him. While she was pleasantly surprised, Qin Feng had already reached out to grab an ancient cloud flower. This was the first time he had seen an ancient cloud flower in real life. He had previously seen its picture in the Encyclopedia of Medicinal Pills. According to the introduction of the Encyclopedia of Medicinal Pills, the ancient cloud flower could be used to refine the ancient Luo pill. This kind of medicinal pill was a type of miraculous pill that was specifically targeted at Void God Realm cultivators. It could make the clone of a Void God Realm expert even stronger. While he was grabbing the ancient cloud flower, Qin Feng's other hand grabbed the miraculous fruit. This spirit fruit was one of the main ingredients for refining the devil fruit pill. The devil fruit pill had a similar effect to the dark spirit fruit. After eating it, a devil cultivator could quickly break through. However, when his hands landed, they were bounced off by 2 rays of white light. Although the white light's power was not strong, it gave Qin Feng an ancient and distant feeling. He didn't even try a second time. A feeling of not being able to obtain these spirit herbs arose in his heart. Little brother Qiao Feng, what is that? Yu Wanqiu also saw the flash of white light and was shocked. Before Qin Feng could answer, Wan Qifeng's strange cry came from nearby. How can this be? There is an aura seal on these spirit herbs. I can't take them away? What? These spirit herbs can't be taken away. Yu Wanqiu didn't believe it and immediately reached out to grab a agave orchid. The white light reappeared, and when she felt the ancient aura, she felt powerless. Little brother Qiao Feng, why do I feel that this medicinal valley was built by someone? These arrays and the aura seal on the spirit herbs were all set up by that person. At that moment, even Yu Wanqiu realized where the problem was. However, after she made this conjecture, she was unable to maintain her composure on the surface like Qin Feng. She was about to be shocked to death. There was a level 9 defensive formation and an aura seal. Just how capable was that person? Qin Feng ignored Wan Qifeng's cry. After he came back to his senses, he tried to grab the spirit herbs again, but the result was the same. When he felt despair, a divine sense entered his mind, and he was shocked. If this divine sense attacked him, the consequences would be unthinkable. Fortunately, the worst-case scenario didn't occur. That divine sense was incomparably powerful. Even though Qin Fen had sealed off his sea of consciousness with all his might, that divine sense still entered the depths of his sea of consciousness, as if it was walking on flat ground. Feng's Qin. This was the first time Qin Feng felt so helpless. Facing this incomparably powerful divine sense, he couldn't even find a way to fight back. Was Feng's Feng that the he, Feng's many, in, Wan, Feng of the Wan, Qi, his voice was filled with vicissitudes, as if he was an old man who had lived for thousands of years. However, you can refine pills here. You can take the herbs from the medicinal valley, and we will split the refined pills in half. If you agree, I will remove the aura seal. If you don't want to, you can leave. The old voice echoed in Qin Feng's mind. It was as if the old man was standing in front of Qin Feng and talking, but Qin Feng knew that the old man wasn't here. This was just a divine sense he left behind before he left. The old voice echoed in Qin Feng's mind as if the old man was standing in front of him and talking. However, Qin Feng knew that the old man wasn't here at all. This was just a divine sense he left behind when he left. Qin Feng could feel that this divine sense had existed for hundreds of years, but it was still so powerful. If the old man launched a divine sense attack on the spot, it would be hard to imagine how terrifying it would be. Qin Feng quickly tossed aside his messy thoughts. He realized that he hadn't come here for nothing. According to the words left behind by the old man, if they were refined into pills, he would at least get half of the profits. Furthermore, these medicinal ingredients were all provided by the old man. Ha ha! Old man, have you gone mad? You want me to waste my time and refine pills for you? Not to mention that I don't know how to refine pills. Even if I did, I wouldn't stay. Wan Qifeng sneered. It seemed that he had also been invaded by the divine sense, but he didn't plan to stay. He had even left the formation of the medicinal garden and was standing outside the medicinal garden, glaring at Qin Feng coldly. Brat, now you know what retribution is. You schemed and schemed, but in the end, you were tricked by the old man from the medicinal valley. Ha! Do you know how idiotic your behavior is? Yu Wanqiu didn't feel the divine sense. It was probably because her realm was too low, so she wasn't qualified to be invaded by the divine sense. She was confused by Wan Qifeng's words and even thought that he was mad. However, she heard Qin Feng say, "When you called me an idiot, weren't you also scolding yourself? However, since you jumped out of the medicinal garden's formation, it means that you are different from me. You are the real idiot. Grandson, you only know how to talk. Do you dare to come out and fight with me?" Wan Qifeng was furious. His ferocious appearance was completely different from the usual kind and righteous elder Wan Qifeng. Qin Feng sneered and said, "You are 5 or 6 times older than me, and you still have the nerve to say such things? Why don't you find a cultivator with a higher cultivation than you to fight?" Wan Qifeng's words choked him to death. His old face was flushed with anger, and his mind, which had always been as calm as water, was about to be disturbed by Qin Feng. "Your grandson will die sooner or later. I will go to the higher palaces to search for treasures. When the exploration of the 13 palaces is over, it will be the time of your death." Wan Qifeng didn't waste any more time and threw out dozens of formation flags. A formation light wall appeared out of thin air. Seeing that he had opened the formation door so easily, Yu Wanqiu completely believed Qin Feng's words. This old man was just putting on an act. His purpose was to trick other cultivators away so that he could monopolize the spiritual herbs in the medicinal valley. However, before he could leave, he was almost angered by Qin Feng's words. "I hope you don't die in the 13 palaces. Otherwise, I won't be able to kill you with my own hands. Arrogant brat. Arrogant brat." Suppressing the surging blood in his body, Wan Qifeng didn't want to stay here for even a moment longer. He flew into the formation door and disappeared. The formation door was still there, and it seemed like it could still be maintained for half an hour. Yu Wanqiu quickly pulled Qin Feng and shouted, "Brother Qiao Feng, let's go out quickly." "Sister Wanqiu, don't worry." Wan Qifeng left that formation door on purpose. "He is most likely waiting for us outside. If we go out, we will die without a doubt." "Ah? That old man is so sinister." Yu Wanqiu felt a lingering fear. She realized that Qin Feng had saved her life again. In fact, even if Wan Qifeng wasn't waiting outside, Qin Feng didn't plan on leaving the medicinal valley, at least not now. "Sister Wanqiu, I can also find the exit formation. You don't have to worry about not being able to get out. I want to refine pills here. If you want to go out, I will send you out later. If you want to stay, you can use the medicinal valley's rich spiritual energy to break through." Yu Wanqiu didn't even think before saying, "Brother Qiao Feng, if you don't go out, I won't go out either. Let's go together." Qin Feng's thoughts were the same. He was completely relieved. After giving Yu Wanqiu some instructions, he took out the cauldron of heaven and earth and started to refine pills. The level 6 medicinal garden he was in had a rich variety of spirit herbs. Qin Feng specifically chose the pills that he didn't have to refine. That way, he would be able to get half of the pills. However, when he was about to put the spirit herbs into the cauldron of heaven and earth, he realized that he couldn't take them out at all. Instead, a pill furnace appeared out of thin air in the medicinal garden. The pill furnace's quality was not bad, but it still couldn't compare to the cauldron of heaven and earth that Qin Feng took out from the system. However, the spirit herbs all flew into the pill furnace in the medicinal garden. Qin Feng quickly understood that this should have been specially set up by the old man from the medicinal valley. His goal was to let the alchemist successfully obtain half a furnace of pills. Qin Feng put away the cauldron of heaven and earth, and used the pill furnace in the medicinal garden to refine pills. Although the quality of the pills refined might not be as good, it was still better than nothing. Soon, Qin Feng familiarized himself with the rules of the medicinal garden. If he needed any spirit herbs, he only needed to use his divine sense to sweep over them, and those spirit herbs would automatically fly into the pill furnace. This was obviously set up by the old man from the Medicine Valley. Since there was no one else in the Medicinal Valley, Qin Feng didn't need to hold back when refining pills. He directly took out the spirit sunflower flame. When the flame rose, the surrounding temperature suddenly rose. Yu Wanqiu, who was cultivating, was awakened. When she saw that Qin Feng had the heavenly fire spirit sunflower, which was ranked 20th on the divine continent, her eyes almost popped out. She only recovered after a long time of shock, but she didn't disturb Qin Feng. After 2 incense sticks worth of time, the first furnace of pills was out of the furnace. It was a furnace of devil fruit pills. Devil fruit pills were only one of the rank 2, rank 7 king pills, and they were for devil cultivators to use. The reason why Qin Feng refined this furnace of pills first was completely to warm up. Following this, the speed of refining became faster and faster, and the quality of the finished pills kept improving. The pills piled up around him like a small mountain, and the lowest grade of those pills were rank 1, rank 7 king pills. While he was continuously refining pills, the Heart Sutra of the Creation chapter circulated at lightning speed. Even he himself didn't realize that his pill refining technique was becoming more refined, and the efficiency and quality had also greatly improved. Little brother Qiao Feng, 10 days have already passed. Are we going to stay here forever? Yu Wanqiu's voice rang in his ears, and Qin Feng suddenly woke up. He had been immersed in refining pills, and he didn't expect that 10 days would pass in the blink of an eye. The 13 palaces were only open for 3 months at a time, and more than a month had already passed. Although Qin Feng wanted to continue refining pills in the Medicine Valley, he also wanted to go to a higher palace to search for opportunities. Just as he was about to put away the pills and leave, thousands of fragments of white light flashed in his mind. These fragments gradually gathered and fused, forming an illusory picture. The picture was not very clear, but Qin Feng had an urge to continue refining pills. Big Sister Wanqiu, I'm going to refine one last furnace of pills. Chapter 1888. Yu Wanqiu just wanted to remind Qin Feng. After all, the 13 palaces only opened for 3 months every 10 years. 1.5 months had already passed, so it would be a pity to continue wasting time in this herb garden. However, when she saw that Qin Feng still wanted to refine pills, Yu Wanqiu didn't say much. She was now completely under Qin Feng's control, so she would do whatever he said. When Qin Feng entered the alchemy state again, the white light fragments in his mind became clearer. He knew that he had gained new insights after continuously refining pills. This time, he took out an ancient cloud flower and some level 4 and level 5 spirit herbs from his storage ring. These were the medicinal ingredients for refining ancient Luo pills. Ancient Luo pills were a type of miraculous pills recorded in books. They had reached the quality of level 5 grade 7 king pills. The medicinal properties of these pills were targeted at Void Spirit Realm cultivators and could make the clone of a Void Spirit Realm elite cultivator even stronger. Qin Feng still had some time before he became a Void Spirit Realm cultivator. The reason he wanted to refine these pills was to try and break through to level 5 king pill. Most of the pills he needed to break through had already reached the quality of level 5 king pills. After throwing the medicinal ingredients into the pill furnace in an orderly manner, Qin Feng began to refine the pills with full concentration. In order to increase his success rate, he even set up a simple spirit gathering array in the pill furnace. In actuality, the spirit chi in the herb garden was already abundant enough to refine grade 8 immortal pills. When the spirit gathering array took effect, the surrounding spirit chi all surged into the pill furnace and immediately formed a small spirit chi whirlpool. The spirit's sunflower sky fire rose, and the faint blue flame heated the pill furnace over and over again. In fact, Qianfen had done this preheating process countless times in his previous alchemy. However, this time's alchemy was very important to him. Even though it was just a small step, he still put in a lot of effort. When the temperature of the entire pill furnace reached the same level, Qianfen started to refine the spirit herbs separately. With his current alchemy skills and the strength of his spiritual sense, he could refine 3 spirit herbs at the same time. However, he was also very careful during the refining process, so he only refined 1 spirit herb at a time. This was probably the most meticulous Qianfen had ever been in alchemy. This caused the speed of alchemy to decrease. In the past, after purifying the pills for the second time, he could attempt to form the core. However, this batch of ancient luo pills had been purified 5 times, but he still felt that it was not time to form the core. Qianfen quickly understood that it wasn't that he hadn't purified enough. It was that he hadn't comprehended the essence of a level 5, level 7 king pill. If he only purified it repeatedly like this, even if he purified it 100 times, he still wouldn't be able to finish this batch of pills. At that moment, Qianfen was a little anxious. He sped up the circulation of the Heart Sutra of Creation and tried his best to make the white light fragments in his mind clearer. However, this time, the comprehension breakthrough did not seem to be as smooth as before. It was as if there was a layer of silk that he could not pierce through. Master, you can try refining pills under the Tree of Life. Qianfen immediately understood what Little Pig meant when he heard its voice. The Tree of Life was one of the top 10 immortal herbs on the Divine Continent. It could purify one's spiritual root and improve one's comprehension. It was an immortal tree that could only be found by luck. Qianfen knew that the reason he could enter the true spirit realm from the 7 changes Buddha aura in 10 days in the secret realm of the Mountain of Life was related to the Tree of Life. However, Qianfen was in a difficult position. The Tree of Life was planted in the astral boundary. If he entered the astral boundary now, wouldn't Yuanqiu discover the secret of the astral boundary? Qianfen trusted Yuanqiu a lot, but would the old man in the medicinal valley also discover the astral boundary? He tried refining for a while more, but he still couldn't form pills. Seeing that a furnace of precious spiritual herbs was about to be wasted, Qianfen no longer cared about anything else. With a slight thought, he brought the furnace into the astral boundary. Dense spiritual energy surged over. Qianfen realized that the spiritual energy in the astral boundary was comparable to the medicinal valley. However, he didn't have time to be happy about this. He immediately sat under the Tree of Life and continued refining pills. The Tree of Life was shrouded in a layer of light mist. The plants that were shrouded in the moonlight mist were clearly more vigorous. Qianfen was also shrouded in the light mist. He could feel the Heart Sutra of the Creation chapter circulating on its own. The circulation speed was twice as fast as when he used his full strength. I understand. Rank 5, Rank 7 king pills aren't just purified. They also need to consider the perfect fusion between the various spiritual herbs. Unknowingly, the white light fragments in Qianfeng's mind became clearer. He felt like he had a sudden realization. His hands kept forming pill seals, and he was no longer as cautious as before. His movements were as smooth as flowing water, as if he was a veteran who had refined countless Rank 5, Rank 7 king pills. Rumble! There was a sudden explosion, and Qianfen was pleasantly surprised. He watched as 6 ancient luo pills flew out of the furnace. Although they were all low-grade ancient luo pills, at least he had successfully refined them. Little brother Qiaofeng, where did you go? I was so worried. Qianfeng had just come out of the astral boundary when he saw the anxious Yuanqiu. Yuanqiu couldn't hold back her flustered emotions and flew into Qianfeng's arms. This herb garden was only a dozen square meters in size, and Qianfeng had suddenly disappeared. She even thought that Qianfeng had used a formation to abandon her and leave alone. Big sister Yuanqiu, don't worry. I'm back now. Qianfeng understood Yuanqiu's thoughts and patted her back to comfort her. A powerful divine sense suddenly shot over and unreasonably scanned Qianfeng's body. It didn't seem to find anything out of the ordinary. An old voice came from the divine sense. Brat, where did you go just now? Qin Feng knew that this was the divine sense left behind by the master of the medicinal valley. He didn't expect the old man to be so powerful that the divine sense left behind decades ago could still retain its spirituality. However, this was just the divine sense of the other party, so Qin Feng wasn't afraid. It was precisely because of this that he chose to enter the astral boundary to comprehend. Otherwise, he would never have exposed the existence of the astral boundary. Why do you care so much? I refine pills and you take them. This is our deal, Qin Feng replied telepathically. The old man was obviously not satisfied with his answer. Brat, you dare to talk to me like this? You don't have to hide it. You have a spatial treasure, don't you? As long as you hand over the treasure, I can give you all the spirit herbs in this level 6 herb garden. Qin Feng glanced around. There were at least hundreds of level 6 spirit herbs in this herb garden. This many spirit herbs would be a huge fortune for any cultivator. However, compared to the space in the astral boundary, Qin Feng really didn't care about these level 6 spirit herbs. At the same time, he realized one thing from the other party's words. The divine sense left in the medicinal valley obviously couldn't trap him. Otherwise, the other party could just snatch the astral boundary by force. There was no need to exchange for the herb garden. After understanding this, Qin Feng no longer worried. He saw that it was almost time, so he planned to leave this place with Yuanqiu and continue to look for a higher level palace. However, before he could leave, a loud sound exploded above his head. A light screen of an array gate actually appeared in the sky. Download the app on your phone, the divine tool for reading books. Baidu search keywords, Bookkeeper app, or directly visit the official website. Chapter 1889. Little brother Qiao Feng, why is the array door in the sky? Yuanqiu had clearly misunderstood. She thought that the array door in the sky was created by Qin Feng. However, when the array door appeared in the sky, the divine sense in the medicinal valley suddenly became agitated and rampaged through Qin Feng's divine knowledge sea. Qin Feng had no way of resisting the divine sense in the medicinal valley. Fortunately, each divine sense was not very strong. Even if it attacked Qin Feng's divine knowledge sea, the damage it caused was limited. But soon, Qin Feng's expression changed drastically. He felt a wave of divine sense vibrating through the entire medicinal valley. It turned out that the divine sense hidden in the medicinal valley was shooting towards him. This was the rhythm of wanting to completely destroy his sea of divine sense. Qin Feng didn't have much time to think. He immediately pulled Yuanqiu out of the herb garden and leaped into the array gate high in the sky. Even Qin Feng didn't know where this array gate led to. He couldn't even tell what level this array gate was. There was a stabbing pain in his mind. It was the effect of the array's teleportation. When the two of them opened their eyes again, their surroundings had changed greatly. It was as if they were in a spring valley. Qin Feng tried to use his divine sense to scan the area and found that there was also an array that blocked divine sense. However, he still scanned 300 meters away and found that it was really a spring valley. Behind him was a waterfall, and the spring water in the spring pool came from the waterfall. Little brother Qiao Feng, where is this? The spiritual qi is so dense. Yuanqiu's eyes were filled with surprise. It was because they had escaped the shackles of the medicinal valley and because the dense spiritual qi in the spring valley made her feel very comfortable. Qin Feng did not know where he had been teleported to, but he quickly realized something shocking. The waterfall and spring pool in front of him were not ordinary, but a large spiritual spring pool. Let's go take a look. There are people in the spring pool. Let's ask them where this place is. Qin Feng immediately pulled Yuanqiu and flew to the side of the spring pool. There were more than a dozen natural springs under the waterfall, and each spring was as big as a swimming pool. The closer they got to the springs, the denser the spiritual qi became. When the two of them landed on the edge of the spring pool, Yuanqiu had the urge to cultivate on the spot. Almost all the springs were filled with people. Qin Feng swept his eyes over them and couldn't help being shocked. The lowest cultivation in the group was at the peak 9th True Spirit Realm. There were normal Hollow God Realm cultivators, and there were several dozen auras that he couldn't see through. This formation was too powerful. When Qin Feng entered the sixth palace formation, he didn't see so many hollow spirit state and body condensation state cultivators. He really didn't know where these masters came from. With a heart full of doubts, Qin Feng planned to find a cultivator to ask. Suddenly, his eyes lit up as he saw a familiar face in the crowd. "Senior Hao, you're here too!" Qin Feng walked to the side of a spring and saw Hao Yuele. At this moment, Hao Yuele was soaking at the very edge of the spring. He was almost sticking to the edge of the spring. This made Qin Feng immediately understand his situation. The cultivators in the spring were arranged according to their realms. In the center of each spring sat cultivators whose realms Qin Feng couldn't see through. So it's Brother Qiao. You've also come to the seventh palace? Hao Yuele had a look of surprise on his face. Clearly, he hadn't expected to see Qin Feng here. His words surprised Qin Feng. "Senior Hao, this is the seventh palace?" Hao Yuele was speechless. "Brother Qiao, don't you know?" Qin Feng really didn't know this was the seventh palace. He was clearly refining elixirs in the herb garden of the sixth palace. Then, he jumped into the array gate that appeared in the void and was transported here. So that array gate was the array gate that led to the seventh palace. Suddenly, Qin Feng figured out a lot of things. No wonder when that array gate appeared, the divine senses in the herb valley became restless. It was because those divine senses knew the secret of that array gate. Also, the cultivators in front of him were so powerful. Because this was the seventh palace, those who could come here were naturally not ants. Qin Feng also realized that the old man who owned the herb valley was not the owner of the 13th palace. He should have entered as an explorer, and then accidentally found the secret realm of the 6th palace. Then, he occupied the secret realm and set his own rules. Although Qin Feng was very unhappy with the old man of the herb valley, he couldn't help but admire the Almighty like him. Just like the owner of the herb garden in the secret realm of the Godfall Island, or the Almighty who planted the tree of life on the mountain of life, these people didn't need to show up personally and could use the environment to create their own cultivation resources. Qin Feng didn't know when he could reach the level of those people, but he quickly realized that now was not the time to think about these things. "I was transported here after entering an array gate with my friend. So this is the 7th palace," Qin Feng explained. Hao Yuele suddenly realized that he had actually entered an array gate inexplicably 5 days ago, and then arrived at the 7th palace. Otherwise, with his cultivation, he would most likely be stuck in the 5th or 6th palace. In fact, most of the time, luck was more important in the 13th palace. Like Hao Yuele, he could enter the 7th palace inexplicably, while some empty god realm cultivators might not even find the entrance to the 5th palace after searching for 3 months. After talking for a while, Qin Feng had a general understanding of the situation here. It turned out that the cultivators who entered the 7th palace would appear beside this spiritual spring, and basically all the cultivators who entered would stay in the spiritual spring to cultivate. This was because the spiritual energy here was so dense that people couldn't ignore its temptation. Qin Feng also wanted to jump into the spirit spring pool, but he quickly calmed down. The spirit chi in this spirit spring pool couldn't compare to the 3 spirit essence pools he took from the Mountain of Life. It wasn't even half as dense as the spirit essence pools. "Senior Hao, since we are fated to come to the 7th palace, why don't we look for treasures elsewhere? There's no need to waste time here," Qin Feng persuaded Hao Yuele. After all, this person had told him a lot of information. Hao Yuele shook his head and smiled bitterly. "I understand what Brother Qiao means, but this is the 7th palace. The beasts here are all level 7 spirit beasts. Those beasts are comparable to empty god realm cultivators. A true spirit realm cultivator like me will only be courting death if I go there. Brother Qiao, you and that friend are also in the true spirit realm. I advise you to stay here and cultivate. Being too greedy will lead to trouble." Qin Feng didn't look down on Hao Yuele's idea at all. He knew that Hao Yuele's words were very reasonable. If Qin Feng didn't have the hedonist sovereign system and was just an ordinary true spirit realm cultivator, he would also choose to stay in this relatively safe spiritual spring to break through. Why would he go to other areas to look for trouble? However, Qianfen wasn't how Yue. He was different from all the cultivators in the Divine Continent. Moreover, his purpose in coming to the South Flat Continent was to seek opportunities to break through quickly. How could he let go of the opportunity in front of him? Then I won't disturb Senior Hao anymore. I hope we will meet again someday. Qianfen didn't try to persuade him. He gave Yu Wanqiu a look and left. Yu Wanqiu was like a little wife, obediently following behind him. She didn't care about the hidden dangers in other areas at all. Hao Yue shook his head and sighed as he watched the two of them leave. Sigh. He's a pretty good junior. He stepped into the True Spirit Realm at such a young age and can instantly kill a late True Spirit Realm cultivator. What a pity, what a pity! Qianfen couldn't hear these words. He had already flown 1,000 miles away with the soaring cloud all. It turned out that the 7th floor of the palace was a large forest. The spiritual spring that Qianfen and Yu Wanqiu saw at the beginning was just one of the common springs in the forest. After flying, Qianfen even saw dozens of similar hot springs. Some of the springs were even bigger than the one Hao Yue had, but he still didn't have any intention of landing the soaring cloud all. Yu Wanqiu was attracted by the big springs that they passed by. Her strength had stabilized at True Spirit Realm 8, and she felt that she would soon break through. She was confident that she could definitely break through to True Spirit Realm 9 if she cultivated in those spiritual springs for a month with the help of elixirs. Little brother Qiao Feng, are we looking for something? Yu Wanqiu asked. Qianfen understood her thoughts and said with a smile, Big sister Wanqiu, those spiritual springs are very ordinary to me. I have 3 spiritual essence ponds in my storage ring. If you want to break through, I can help you at any time. But I suggest that we don't waste time cultivating in the 13th palace. I want to find the entrance to a higher palace. Yu Wanqiu's beautiful eyes widened. In fact, before she entered the 13th palace, her ideal result was to find the 5th palace. She didn't expect that she would mysteriously follow Qianfen to the 7th palace, and Qianfen clearly had no intention of giving up. After she calmed down a bit, she remembered the main point of Qianfen's words. Qianfen actually had 3 spiritual essence ponds. Those were spiritual essence ponds. 3-leaf demon ginseng? There's actually a 3-leaf demon ginseng here! Qianfen suddenly exclaimed. Yu Wanqiu immediately looked outside the soaring cloud all. Ever since she knew Qianfen, this was the first time she had seen him so excited. There was a 3-leaf demon ginseng in a grassland not far away. The reason why Yu Wanqiu could see this 3-leaf demon ginseng among the many weeds was because the plant was surging with dense spirit qi. Little brother Qiao Feng, what is a 3-leaf demon ginseng? This was the first time Yu Wanqiu had heard this name. Qianfen had also learned about this plant from the Encyclopedia of Medicinal Pills. This was a level 7 spirit herb and one of the main ingredients used to refine the realm-breaking pill. The realm-breaking pill was a level 7 imperial pill, and its main effect was to help true spirit and void god realm cultivators forcibly break through their cultivation bottlenecks. This kind of medicinal pill was extremely rare. Qianfen didn't know if anyone in the South Flat Continent could refine it, but he knew that with his current alchemy skills, refining the realm-breaking pill was not a problem. He urgently needed this kind of medicinal pill to break through. This is a level 7 spirit herb. It will be very helpful to me. Qianfen gave a simple explanation. Because the soaring cloud all had already landed beside the 3-leaf demon ginseng, he immediately rushed out of the spaceship to pick it. Roar! However, a beast's roar came from afar. Just this roar alone caused the trees in the forest to shake violently. Qianfen and Yu Wanqiu even felt the ground shake. Both of them wore solemn expressions. Just from the beast's roar, they could tell that it was at least a 7th-grade beast. Little brother Qiao Feng, this spirit herb should be guarded by that beast. Are you really going to take it? Yu Wanqiu looked worried. Before Qianfen could make a decision, another shout came from afar. Where did this ant come from? I have my eyes on this 3-leaf demon ginseng. You two better scram immediately. Bookmark for easier reading. Chapter 1890. That person's words were extremely overbearing, making Qin Fen and Yu Wanqiu feel dissatisfied. However, Yu Wanqiu immediately frowned. She could feel that the other party's aura was extremely powerful. It was even stronger than the aura of Heavenly Star Great Elder Qinhe, whom Qin Fen had killed. Qin Fen also felt this aura and immediately realized that the other party had already stepped into the 4th level of the Void God realm. The 4th level was a sign of stepping into the middle stage of the Void God realm. It was a whole level higher than the early stage Void God realm cultivators he had killed before. Normally, Qin Fen would never fight to the death just because of the other party's arrogant words. However, the 3-leaf demon ginseng was right under his feet, and Qin Fen did not want to give it to the other party. "Ah? Little brother Xiao Feng, are you crazy?" Yu Wanqiu cried out in alarm. She saw Qin Fen pluck the 3-leaf demon ginseng along with the soil without hesitation and put it into his storage ring. From Yu Wanqiu's point of view, this kind of action could only be described as crazy by Qin Fen. Putting aside the fact that the cultivator who shouted had a high realm, the beast was not easy to deal with. After Qin Fen took away the 3-leaf demon ginseng, the flowers and plants around the open space instantly withered, and the dense spirit qi that had formed above the demon ginseng also disappeared. As if sensing the situation, the beast's roar became frantic. It dashed toward Qin Fen, causing the ground to shake violently as it ran. Swish! A white light flashed, and the arrogant cultivator landed in front of Qin Fen. He glanced at the 3-leaf demon ginseng, and his expression turned cold. Before he landed, the scimitar in his hand had already slashed down. The scimitar slashed out like a crescent moon. The scimitar slashed past, and Qin Fen immediately felt a strong sense of danger. Just as he was about to dodge, he suddenly slapped Yu Wanqiu, who was still in a daze. Yu Wanqiu was sent flying dozens of meters away, narrowly avoiding the attack of the crescent moon's scimitar. However, Qin Fen missed the best opportunity, and his abdomen was struck by the scimitar, causing him to spit out a few mouthfuls of blood in midair. "Little brother Xiao Feng, are you okay?" Yu Wanqiu anxiously looked at Qin Fen as soon as she landed, feeling extremely guilty. The power of the scimitar was so strong that it messed up Qin Fen's quintessential essence. He immediately swallowed a bottle of qi-strengthening pills, and the green dragon cauldron above his head. "Bold ant daring to hit the treasure that I, young Master Shi, have taken a fancy to. You really don't know how to write the word death." The arrogant cultivator didn't chase after her. He was standing with his hands behind his back, and there was a picture of a folding fan engraved on the chest area of his clothes. When Yu Wanqiu saw this picture, her eyes almost fell to the ground, revealing a shocked expression. You're Gu Xiaoyou's disciple?" Yu Wanqiu asked subconsciously. The other party didn't answer at all. He didn't even bother to look at Yu Wanqiu. At this time, Yu Wanqiu came back to her senses. When she silently recited the name Young Master Shi, the shock in her eyes instantly intensified. "Young Master Shi, one of the top 10 young masters of the South Flat Continent. You really are a genius disciple of the 7-star sect Gu Xiaoyao." He seemed to be talking to himself, but Qin Fen heard him clearly. Qin Feng's expression instantly turned solemn when he found out that the person who came was a genius disciple of Gu Xiaoyao, one of the few 7-star sects in the South Plateau continent. To be honest, Qin Fen was not afraid of Lin Shi. However, if he were to face a 7-star sect, he could only run for his life with his current strength. However, he quickly calmed down. It seemed like there were no other disciples of Gu Xiaoyao in the vicinity. Lin Shi was the only one who had discovered the 3-leaf demon ginseng. Roar! The beast's roar got closer and closer, and a huge shadow leaped out from the depths of the forest. It was an animal that resembled a leopard. Its fur was blue, and there were blue lightning leaping around its body. When Yu Wanqiu saw this huge beast, she cried out in surprise again. "A level 7 thunder leopard?" Fortunately, the thunder leopard wasn't attacking Yu Wanqiu. Otherwise, she would have been instantly struck to death by the thunder leopard's lightning in her current state of shock. As soon as the thunder leopard's figure leaped out, it opened its mouth and shot out a blue lightning arc that was as thick as a person's waist. The lightning arc exploded in the air and turned into a dozen lightning bolts that fell on Lin Shi's head. Lin Shi's expression turned grave when he faced such a ferocious lightning bolt. He leaped all the way, and those lightning bolts blasted holes in the ground behind him. Lin Shi's speed was extremely fast, and he was actually standing on a low-grade true energy flying sword. "You two ants! Hurry up and drop your storage rings and scram!" Lin Shi shouted. He didn't have time to deal with Qin Fen while being chased by the thunder leopard. After recuperating, Qin Fen's chaotic true energy had mostly recovered. When he saw the thunder leopard, he didn't reveal the same nervous and grave expression as Yuanqiu and Lin Shi. Instead, his eyes shone with surprise. The lightning bolt emitted by this level 7 thunder leopard was incomparably ferocious. Although it couldn't compare to the 9 transformations true thunder or the black lightning on the mountain of life, this thunder leopard had already evolved its lightning several times. Its power was no weaker than the lightning tribulation triggered by Qin Fen's breakthrough. Rumble! Thunder roared incessantly, and in just the time it took for an incense stick to burn, a large portion of the forest was destroyed by the lightning bolt. A desolate landscape of ruins appeared in the surroundings. Lin Shi was battered and exhausted from being chased, and he didn't even have many opportunities to fight back. When he discovered that Qin Fen and Yuanqiu still had it left, he was immediately enraged. "Since you two ants want to die, then I'll fulfill your wish." As one of the South Flat Continent's 10 great princes, Lin Shi usually appeared in front of everyone with an incomparably elegant and noble demeanor. He hadn't expected to be seen in such a battered state, so he had to kill Qin Fen and Yuanqiu no matter what. It turned out that the South Flat Continent's 10 great princes were the same as the North Sand Continent's 10 great geniuses. It was just that they were addressed differently. Only cultivators under the age of 50 were qualified to fight for the title of South Flat Continent's 10 great princes. Lin Shi had squeezed into the 10 great princes list with his Void Spirit Realm cultivation level, so it was obvious that the South Flat Continent's cultivation level surpassed the North Sand Continent's by quite a bit. These messy thoughts flashed through Qin Fen's mind, and he immediately realized that now wasn't the time to care about these things. When he looked at Lin Shi again, he saw that guy throw out an array disc. The array disc was activated the moment it landed on the ground. It was actually a level 7 trap array. This was Qin Fen's first time seeing a level 7 trap array. He knew that this trap array wasn't made by Lin Shi. He had only obtained this level 7 array disc and simply perfected it. Back in the North Sand Continent, Qin Fen had used a level 5 trap array to trap and kill the Red Flower Hall's Hall Master, Bai Zhanfei. Later on, he had used the Ghost Face Soul Banner to trap and kill a few Void Spirit Realm cultivators. The Ghost Face Soul Banner's formation was comparable to a level 6 trap array. Now that a level 7 trap array had appeared, it was enough to trap a Body Condensation Realm cultivator for a moment. No matter how ferocious the Thunder Leopard was, it was only a demonic beast with Void Spirit Realm cultivation. 4 heaven-reaching formation walls appeared, trapping the Thunder Leopard in a space that was less than 20 square meters. No matter how much lightning the Thunder Leopard shot, it couldn't break through the formation walls of the level 7 trap array. Seeing this, Lin Shi heaved a sigh of relief and immediately looked coldly at Qin Fen. He didn't know that he had made a huge mistake. In his opinion, the Thunder Leopard was an existence that could threaten his life, so he used the level 7 trap array on the Thunder Leopard. He didn't expect Qin Fen to be even more ferocious than the Thunder Leopard. "A mere true spirit realm ant dares to disobey my orders? Hand over the 3-leaf demon ginseng immediately, and I'll let you die a quick death," Lin Shi roared. "Young Master Shi, we didn't mean to offend you. We were frightened by the level 7 Thunder Leopard. We'll give you the 3-leaf demon ginseng now. We hope that young Master Shi can spare us." Yuanqiu came to her senses and humbled herself to plead. This time, she no longer had any hopes that Qin Fen would be able to kill Lin Shi. She didn't even dare to think about it. Lin Shi was one of the few 7-star sects in the South Flat Continent, And he was also one of the top 10 young masters in the South Flat Continent. Such a person would be a heavenly prodigy in China. When others faced him, they would subconsciously feel inferior. However, even if Yuan Qiu humbled herself to the extreme, Lin Shi's expression didn't change at all. He still had a frosty expression as he said, "Humph. Your status is like a lowly slave compared to mine. What qualifications do you have to plead with me? I'll give you a quick death, which is already a great kindness. Hurry up and hand over the 3-leaf demon ginseng. Don't waste my precious time." Yuan Qiu felt despair. She knew that offending a 7-star sect in the South Flat Continent was equivalent to being sentenced to death. At that moment, Qin Fen's indifferent voice rang out. "Is that 3-leaf demon ginseng yours?" This question came too suddenly. Yuan Qiu and Lin Shi were both stunned. "What did you say?" Lin Shi glared at Qin Fen angrily. "Are you deaf? I'm asking you, did you plant that 3-leaf demon ginseng here?" "Nonsense. That demon ginseng grew here by itself." Lin Shi didn't understand what Qin Fen meant and subconsciously shouted. Qin Fen nodded and said, "Then it's settled. That 3-leaf demon ginseng is a spirit plant from the 7th palace, so it doesn't belong to anyone. I obtained it first, so it's mine now. Why should I give it to you?" Yuan Qiu was speechless. Qin Fen was actually trying to reason with Lin Shi? Lin Shi was also stunned. When he regained his senses, he couldn't stop laughing. "Ha ha! You want to reason with me? Is there something wrong with your head? I'm a genius disciple of the 7-star sect Gu Xiaoyao. What I say is the truth of the South Flat Continent. If I tell you to hand over the demon ginseng, you should immediately do so." Qin Fen felt that he was already very arrogant. He didn't expect to meet someone even more arrogant in the South Flat Continent. However, he didn't care at all because he liked to take care of people who didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. "Is that so? Your fallacious reasoning works in front of others, but it doesn't work in front of me." "Humph. As expected, you're an ant who doesn't know death. Then I'll show you whether my fists are useful or not." Rumble! After saying that, Lin Shi punched out. It was a punch without any fancy moves, but it immediately created a vacuum in the air in front of him. The shockwave from the fist energy surged in all directions, and Yuan Qiu was instantly blown several hundred meters away. She even knocked down a few towering trees along the way. Otherwise, who knew how far she would have been sent flying from the aftershock of the fist energy. Chapter 1891. Seeing the injured Yuan Qiu fall to the ground, Qin Fen's eyes lit up. He also punched out and collided with Lin Shi's fist force. The loud noise startled the forest, and many birds and beasts fled. Qin Fen had used a special grade Thunder Tiger flying sword fist with all his strength. The hidden killing intent of the flying swords in this fist technique had injured many experts. But this time, before the flying swords could even get close, they were blown away by the strong wind from Lin Shi's fist force. The fist force's aftershock crashed into Qin Fen's body and sent him flying to the ground. He looked at Lin Shi, who was standing there motionlessly, and a playful smile appeared on his face. After Qin Fen landed on the ground, he didn't even care about his injured body. He was shocked. The reason why he clashed with Lin Shi was to test the strength of a middle-stage Nihility God Realm cultivator. But after that punch, Qin Fen realized that his opponent was not as simple as an ordinary middle-stage Nihility God Realm cultivator. His strength was almost on par with a late-stage Nihility God Realm expert. Soon, Qin Fen understood. Since Lin Shi was one of the top 10 young masters of the South Flat Continent, his strength was naturally at the top among his peers. How could he compare him to an ordinary middle-stage Nihility God Realm cultivator? After understanding this, Qin Fen didn't dare to hold back. He had originally planned to use Lin Shi to practice, and maybe he could gain some new insights in the fierce battle. But now, he no longer had any thoughts of holding back. Facing such a powerful expert, he might lose his life if he relaxed even a little. Seeing Qin Fen fall to the ground again, Lin Shi completely disregarded him. He couldn't even understand where such a weak true spirit cultivator got the courage to snatch the spirit herb he wanted. But before his smile could fully bloom, it suddenly froze on his face. A black light suddenly appeared, as if it had instantly swallowed up all the light in the surroundings. Within that black light, a strange energy fluctuation rippled. The speed at which this black light spread was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it had already spread to a radius of 10 miles. Qin Fin stood in the center of the black light, holding a dazzling long saber. When the confinement attack landed, the air within a radius of 10 miles froze. The boundary appeared again, and Qin Fin had a basic understanding of the existence of the boundary. When the black light filled the air, he felt that he was the ruler of this world. Anyone who entered the boundary was like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. Lin Shi's white robe was a stark contrast against the black light. The smile on his face was gone, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. Even though he was a disciple of a 7-star sect, Gu Xiaoyao, he was unable to accept the fact that Qin Feng, who was only at level 4 of the true spirit realm, had created a realm. Realm was something that only hollow spirit state cultivators could comprehend. Moreover, only hollow spirit state cultivators with outstanding perception could touch the threshold of realm. Even Lin Shi, one of the 10 great young masters of the South Flat Continent, only managed to grasp a fragment of realm when he stepped into the middle hollow spirit state. Even Lin Shi was unable to use his realm, or it could be said that the power of his realm was too weak. Even a late-stage true spirit cultivator wouldn't be able to control it. Looking at the endless black light in front of him, it could be seen that Qin Fin's realm had already reached the initial stage. You've actually achieved the initial stage? How did you do it? Which sect are you a disciple of? Are you from a 9-star sect in the East Field continent? Lin Shi had forgotten that he was in danger, and asked a series of questions. Qin Fin didn't have time to answer him. Taking advantage of this gap, he threw out 4 soul banners. The soul banners shot into the void and immediately enlarged. Finally, they pierced into the ground like 4 heavenly walls. I'm just an itinerant cultivator from the North Sand continent, but it's enough to kill you! Qin Fin purposely revealed his identity to anger Lin Shi. He knew that Lin Shi would definitely die. Or rather, if he didn't kill Lin Shi today, Qin Fin wouldn't be able to stay in the South Flat Continent anymore. Gu Xiaoyao was one of the few 7-star sects in the South Flat Continent. If they wanted to kill him, there would probably be no place for him in the South Flat Continent anymore. When the formation of the Ghost Face Soul banners was formed, Lin Shi suddenly woke up. His expression was so cold that water was about to drip out. His eyes were spewing fire, and the scimitar in his hand continuously slashed out, trying to break the Ghost Face Soul banners. That scimitar was clearly a high-grade true weapon. However, Qin Fin didn't pay attention to the scimitar. He noticed the ferocity of Lin Shi's saber technique. Every slash would produce a solid crescent saber chi, and the saber chi would automatically split in the air. When the attack completely landed, it had already split into hundreds of violent saber chi. Qin Fin even thought that if he didn't use the Ghost Face Soul banners to trap Lin Shi, would he be able to block such a ferocious and exquisite saber technique? After thinking for a while, Qin Fin shook his head firmly. Perhaps he could find the flaw of this splitting saber chi if he had some time, but he definitely couldn't come up with any countermeasures in such a short time. The saber chi surged and collided with the 4 soul banners, creating loud sounds. Back then, the North sect leader by Xiaofeng was trapped by the soul banners, and when he attacked the soul banners, there was basically no movement. Now that Lin Shi's attacks were so ferocious, it was clear that his strength far surpassed by Xiaofeng and the others. After a few waves of attacks, the 4 soul banners even had obvious cracks. The confinement has failed? Qin Fin came to a sudden realization. Even when he used the confinement to trap by Xiaofeng and the others, they could open their eyes and speak, but they still couldn't move their bodies. However, this time, the confinement had succeeded, but it didn't trap Lin Shi. Master, the power of the confinement changes according to Master's strength. After all, Master is only at true spirit realm 4 right now, But you're dealing with a late Hollow God realm expert, so the confinement's effect isn't that obvious, Little Pig said. Qin Fen's expression changed drastically. He understood that it wasn't that the confinement had failed. In fact, the confinement's effect still existed. The powerful strength that Lin Shi displayed was the power of the confinement's restriction. Qin Fen didn't dare to imagine how powerful Lin Shi would be without the confinement's restriction. Stinking brat, hurry up and let me out, and we can write off our grievances. Otherwise, even if I die, I'll drag you down with me. After a few rounds of attacks, the 4 soul banners were obviously damaged, but Lin Shi's situation wasn't good either. He forcefully resisted the confinement's restriction to launch fierce attacks, causing a large amount of true essence to be consumed. How could Qin Fen let Lin Shi go? This guy was clearly the kind of person who would burn bridges after crossing the river. Even if Lin Shi was telling the truth, Qin Fen had to kill him. Otherwise, Qin Fen wouldn't be able to stay in the South Flat Continent. There was no verbal reply, but a loud explosion sounded in the camp. Qin Fen was holding a dazzling long spear in his hand, but in Lin Shi's eyes, it was an extremely strange weapon. It was this strange weapon that shot out incomparably ferocious lightning bolts. They weren't any weaker than the lightning released by the Class 7 Thunder Leopard. Crackle! The 100-mile light sniper seemed to hide endless lightning bolts. Instantly, dozens of lightning bolts descended. Before Lin Shi could react, a series of explosions sounded on his body. His white robes were torn to shreds, his elegant long hair draped over his shoulders, and his skin was lacerated with countless wounds. The scene of him dripping with blood caused one's heart to tremble. This was definitely the first time in Lin Shi's memory that he was beaten to such a sorry state. In the past, even some seniors with slightly higher cultivation levels would have to speak politely to him when they saw him. But even though his lungs were about to explode, Lin Shi couldn't do anything. He was trapped by the confinement, and the ghost-faced soul banner at the same time. There was also the surging and violent lightning bolts. If it was an ordinary Void God Realm intermediate stage cultivator, he would have long been blasted to death. Ayaya! How dare you offend the dignity of young Master Shi? Today, you will die without a doubt! Lin Shi roared angrily and waved his hand, releasing a green light. After the light appeared, it quickly expanded into a barrier. The dozen lightning bolts exploded on the green barrier and disappeared with it. Qin Fen was shocked. He saw that Lin Shi was holding a green leaf in his hand. The green leaf looked like a banana leaf, and Lin Shi had used it to create the green barrier. Qin Fen quickly discovered that it was not an ordinary green leaf. It was a leaf from a rank 9 spirit herb, the 9-leaf banana. This spirit herb was very rare and could be used as the main ingredient for many rank 9 rank 7 king pills. He hadn't expected that someone would use it to refine a powerful magic weapon. However, Qin Fen didn't pay too much attention to the banana leaf. He knew that the leaf's endurance was limited, and he didn't lack thunder and lightning at the moment. The 2 energy tanks stored a large amount of thunder sources. The 100-mile light sniper kept firing, and for a moment, the lightning bolts were like a sea. It was even more spectacular than the scene of a Void God Realm cultivator breaking through the thunder tribulation. When Yuanqiu, who was sitting on the grass a kilometer away, saw the sea of thunder in the sky, her eyes rolled to the ground. She knew that this was Qin Fen's attack, but she found it hard to accept. Under the violent and uninterrupted thunder strikes, even a magic weapon refined from a rank 9 spirit herb would explode. When the banana leaf exploded, Lin Shi's body also exploded into ashes. Qin Fen immediately put away the ghost-faced soul banner. There were many cracks on it, so he placed it in the system's 10,000 treasure pavilion to be nurtured. The effects of the confinement strike had disappeared, and the black light and energy fluctuations within a 5-kilometer radius instantly disappeared. However, the thunder was still exploding in the open space. Qin Fen didn't even take Lin Shi's storage ring or the fragment of the banana leaf. He immediately left with Yuanqiu. After the 2 of them left for less than half an hour, 5 figures landed. They looked at the place where the thunder had exploded and frowned. Something seems to have happened to the Lin Shi disciples. His aura was as calm as the sea. Even if Qinfen was here, he wouldn't be able to see through his realm. Which bastard dared to kill my beloved disciple? If I catch him, I will burn his soul with heavenly fire. An old man in a black robe was furious. The surging aura on his body scared the rank 7 thunder leopard that was trapped to the side. It turned out that these 5 people were Gu Xiaoyao's people. The 2 who spoke were Gu Xiaoyao's elders, while the other 3 were disciples of the same group. Including Lin Shi, Gu Xiaoyao's group of 6 had originally gone on this expedition. However, Lin Shi had gotten separated on the way. When they found him, they sensed that Lin Shi's real body had exploded, and his 4 clones had also been destroyed. Chapter 1892. Qinfen added 10 spirit crystals to the cloud soaring all, doubling its speed. When the cloud soaring all passed by, a green light flashed and disappeared. By the time some cultivators came back to their senses, the cloud soaring all had already flown thousands of meters away. These 10 spirit crystals were obtained by Qinfen from the Mountain of Life's Spirit Quintessence Pond. Although the 4 spirit quintessence ponds had produced more than 1,000 spirit crystals, Qinfen still felt a pang of heartache when he used those 10 spirit crystals. However, he had to do it. The moment he killed Lin Shi, a strong sense of death welled up in his heart. This sixth sense was a self-defense instinct he developed after escaping from death countless times, and it had always been very accurate. Qinfen heaved a sigh of relief after flying for thousands of miles. Yu Wanqiu didn't speak along the way. She was still immersed in the shock of Qinfen killing a 7-star sex genius disciple, Lin Shi. Sister Wanqiu, we have to find the entrance to the 8th palace as soon as possible. Qinfen realized that no one was chasing them, but he didn't dare to relax. He didn't plan on staying in the 7th palace any longer. Otherwise, something would happen sooner or later. Yu Wanqiu finally came to her senses, but there was still a lingering shock in her eyes. Brother Qiao Feng, we killed Lin Shi this time, so Gu Xiaoyao's people won't let us off. If we can leave the 13th palace alive, we should find a deserted place and go into seclusion. Qinfen felt a warm feeling in his heart because Yu Wanqiu used "we," and he had actually killed Lin Shi alone. This matter had nothing to do with Yu Wanqiu. Sister Wanqiu, don't worry. As long as I'm not dead, I will definitely protect you. Also, this matter was done by me alone. It has nothing to do with Sister Wanqiu. Yu Wanqiu hurriedly said. Brother Qiao Feng, since we've chosen to travel together, there's no need to separate us. I'm not someone who's afraid of death. As long as you don't think I'm a burden to you, it's fine. Yu Wanqiu felt a bit helpless when she said the word burden. She was clearly a Realm 8 true spirit cultivator, but she had become a burden to a Realm 4 true spirit cultivator. She wouldn't have believed this before she met Qinfen. Qinfen didn't try to persuade her any further. It was fine as long as he understood Yu Wanqiu's intentions. After flying for another day and night, Qinfen finally landed the flying cloud all on a green mountain. When the two of them got off the flying cloud all, they immediately felt an incomparably dense spirit qi. Little brother Qiao Feng, why don't we not go anywhere else and just cultivate on this mountain peak? Yu Wanqiu was attracted by the dense spirit qi. At the same time, she didn't even think about going to the 8th palace. It was rumored that at least half of the cultivators who entered the 8th palace would die inside. Qinfen understood Yu Wanqiu's thoughts, but he had to go to the 8th palace. If possible, he also wanted to go to the 9th palace or even the 10th palace. However, before he could say anything else, a strong sensation came from his mind. Little pig, did the spirit-seeking bug find another treasure? Qinfen was pleasantly surprised. It should be, but the spirit-seeking bug isn't sure if it's a treasure or not. Master, why don't you let it out to look for it? Little pig suggested. After searching for treasures twice with the spirit-seeking bug, Qinfen was now very confident in it. The cave on White Spirit Mountain and the spirit tortoise shell found in the Starry Weapon Workshop were all thanks to the spirit-seeking bug. With a slight thought, the spirit-seeking bug flew outside. It was so fast that it turned into a white shadow and disappeared. It didn't even attract Yuanchio's attention. Yuanchio wanted to stay on the mountain to cultivate, but she saw Qin Feng flying to one side. She immediately chased after him and asked, "Little brother Qiao Feng, where are you going?" "Big sister Yuanchio, you stay on this green mountain peak and cultivate. I'll be back soon." Qin Feng wasn't sure if the spirit-seeking bug could find a treasure this time, so he felt that it was better to let Yuanchio cultivate in peace. His voice was still echoing on the mountain peak, but Qin Feng had already disappeared thousands of meters away. Yuanchio didn't chase after him and listened to Qin Feng and stayed on the green mountain peak. After flying for an unknown amount of time, a large canyon appeared in front of them. The closer they got to the canyon, the denser the spirit qi in the surroundings became. It wasn't that Qin Feng hadn't been to places with abundant spirit qi. In fact, the astral world he owned was more suitable for cultivation than most places in the South Flat Continent. However, the spirit qi in the canyon was so dense that it was about to condense into spirit stones. He rarely encountered such an environment. The spirit-seeking bug finally landed in the center of the canyon and wanted to fly underground. However, the ground was hard, and its small body couldn't break through it. Qin Feng immediately understood the meaning of the spirit-seeking bug. He flew up and slashed a crack in the ground under his feet. When the crack appeared, an incomparably dense spirit qi emerged from the ground. At this time, even without the spirit-seeking bug leading the way, Qin Feng realized that there was a treasure hidden under the ground. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, Qin Feng landed all the way from the canyon to the underground riverbed. The scene inside made him speechless. It was like a dreamy palace. There were sparkling icicles hanging all around the underground palace. After Qin Feng carefully observed them, he realized that they weren't icicles, but transparent spirit stones condensed from spirit qi. These spirit stones were between high-grade spirit stones and supreme-grade spirit stones. As far as the eye could see, the air of the entire underground palace was filled with these spirit stones. They shone brightly under the sunlight. "Master, there must be a spirit vein underground. It's probably a high-grade spirit vein," Little Pig said. In fact, Qin Feng had already guessed the existence of a spirit vein even without its reminder. He now had 2 spirit veins in his astral world. One was the middle-grade spirit vein that he stole from the secret realm of the God-Fallen Island, and the other was the high-grade purple cloud spirit vein that he found deep underground in the Purple Cloud Valley. Because he had a spirit vein, Qin Feng knew how precious and powerful a spirit vein was. He stood in the underground palace and sensed the rich spirit qi around him. He realized that this spirit vein was probably of a higher grade than the purple cloud spirit vein. Qin Feng quickly calmed down and followed the spirit-seeking bug to find the spirit vein. This little bug was worthy of being the Divine Continent's #1 treasure-seeking bug. Under its guidance, Qin Feng saw a huge underground spirit vein in front of him in less than the time it took for 2 incense sticks to burn. This spirit vein was twice as wide as the purple cloud spirit vein. The spirit spring flowed slowly in the riverbed, sparkling and translucent. Green gas floated above the riverbed, a sign that the spirit qi was about to take form. There were also many translucent spirit stones floating in the air. Qin Feng was excited when he saw this spirit vein. This was not a high-grade spirit vein, it was definitely a supreme-grade spirit vein. "Master! This really is a supreme-grade spirit vein! You're going to be rich this time!" Little Pig shouted excitedly. After the spirit-seeking bug found the spirit vein, it flew around the riverbed. The rich spirit qi made it go crazy. It wanted to swallow the spirit vein in one gulp. Even the sleeping hunting turtle in the system woke up and was sending a strong signal to Qin Feng to come out. After Qin Feng came back to his senses, he immediately arranged a rank 5 spirit guiding formation and a rank 5 spirit gathering formation beside the riverbed. This was not the first time he had secretly transported a spirit vein. He was skilled and experienced. In addition, he had arranged rank 5 formations, so the speed of transporting the spirit vein was obviously faster than the previous 2 times. However, this was a supreme-grade spirit vein. Based on the current speed, it would take at least 2 days and 2 nights to transport it all to the star boundary. Qin Feng did not intend to waste this time, so he simply sat cross-legged beside the riverbed and began to cultivate. It had been less than 10 days since he broke through to True Spirit Realm 4, but Qin Feng only sat beside the spirit vein for 1 day and 1 night. He felt that his true essence had reached a saturated state. The effect of this supreme-grade spirit vein was beyond his imagination. Realizing that he was about to break through again, Qin Feng quickly stopped cultivating. In order to break through in one go, he planned to refine a furnace of realm-breaking pills to help him break through. Although it was his first time refining a realm-breaking pill, it was only a 5th level 7 king pill. Not long ago, Qin Feng had broken through in the Medicine Valley and became a true 5th level 7 pill king. After the time it took for 3 incense sticks to burn, a furnace of boundary-breaking pills produced 6 pills, 1 high grade, 2 middle grade, and 3 low grade. Although the overall quality was not very high, how many people could successfully refine this kind of pill on their first try? Qin Feng swallowed the high-grade realm-breaking pill without any hesitation. This kind of pill was used to help cultivators break through bottlenecks in their cultivation. In fact, Qin Feng had not encountered a bottleneck in breaking through to True Spirit Realm 5, but who told him to be a pill king and have many high-level spirit grasses? He would rather be safe than care about a 3-leaf demon ginseng. When the realm-breaking pill entered his mouth, its medicinal effects quickly spread. Qin Feng did not even eat any more spirit chi replenishing pills. With the top-grade spirit vein by his side, spirit chi was the least of his worries. After the time it took for 3 incense sticks of time, the first muffled sound came from his body. Qin Feng had just realized that he had successfully stepped into True Spirit Realm 5 when a second wave of muffled sound came. This time, he had directly stepped into True Spirit Realm 6 and his breakthrough was extremely smooth. The 2 breakthroughs caused lightning tribulation to fall at the same time, but the strength of the lightning tribulation did not change much. Back when Qin Feng was still at the Buddha Light Realm, he had encountered this kind of sure-kill lightning tribulation several times. But now that he had broken through to True Spirit Realm 6, even if 2 waves of lightning tribulation fell at the same time, he could still easily deal with them. Most of the lightning tribulation was collected into the energy slot. Now that Qin Feng's energy slot and energy slot were both filled, the amount of lightning contained in the 2 energy slots was enough to flatten an entire market. Although the surrounding spirit chi was still fierce, Qin Feng quickly put away the Creation Chapter Sutra. He realized that he had spent 2 days breaking through to True Spirit Realm 6, and wondered how Big Sister Wenqiu was doing. After another half a day, all the top-grade spirit veins were transported into the star boundary. Qin Feng gave this spirit vein a name, the 7th Palace Spirit Vein. After the 7th Palace Spirit Vein entered the star boundary space underwent a large change. The space expanded once again, and it was now so large that Qin Feng's divine sense could not cover every inch of it. The spirit grasses in the medicine garden grew even more exuberant, and Qin Feng found that the tree of life had become much more spirited. The white light from the tree of life became even wider and the refreshing aura of people in the white light became even more obvious. Qin Feng was in a good mood and immediately flew back to the green peak on his flying sword. When he was still several hundred meters away, he heard the sounds of an intense battle coming from the peak. Baidu's search keywords, Book Shopkeeper app or visit the official website. Chapter 1893. Yuanqiu, you don't know what's good for you. I am a genius disciple of the 5-star wind sect. Do you think I am not good enough for you? You can either obediently follow me or be destroyed by me. A man appeared on the green peak. He looked to be in his early 40s and was dressed in a black robe. His expression was ferocious, and there was a wretched look in his eyes. He was staring at Yuanqiu's body from side to side. Yuanqiu had clearly fought with him. Her blue robe was torn and her snow-white skin was stained with blood. She seemed to be quite heavily injured. Yuanqiu had a disgusted expression as she faced the man. She held her soft sword in her hand and her eyes were filled with vigilance. You beast, even if I die, I won't let you have your way. I advise you to quickly leave. Otherwise, when my friend returns, you won't even know how you died. Yuanqiu had been cultivating on the Green Peak until noon on the second day when she encountered Ku Di, who was passing by. Ku Di saw that Yuanqiu was alone on the mountain and had evil thoughts. He proposed to push Yuanqiu down here, but Yuanqiu firmly refused. Thus, the two of them fought, but Ku Di was already at the peak of True Spirit Realm 9. Yuanqiu was not his match at all, so she was seriously injured. When he heard Yuanqiu's ruthless words, Ku Di was not afraid at all and revealed a playful expression as he laughed and said, "Ha ha! Who is your so-called friend? Could it be your Sky Lake sect's eldest senior brother Yizhong? It would be great if he came. You should not know, but Yizhong has been eyeing your beauty for a long time. He even mentioned in front of me that one day, he would make you a plaything under his crotch. If he comes, then the two of us can do it together." Yuanqiu's blood rushed up and she spat out a large pool of blood. She had seen through Yizhong's true colors a few days ago. She didn't expect this senior brother, who usually pretended to be upright, to be even more shameless than she had imagined. "Ha ha! This is already the desolate mountain of the 7th palace. Since you ran here, don't think that anyone will be able to help you." Ku Di had a pleased expression on his face. His eyes emitted a green light as if Yuanqiu was his prey. At this moment, a clear voice rang out. When Yuanqiu heard this voice, her heart immediately calmed down. "Oh! Do you really think there's no one around here?" Ku Di jumped in fright and felt like he had been slapped in the face. He had just said that there would not be any other cultivators nearby. He had also scanned the area with his spiritual sense and did not find any other cultivators. In the end, one had mysteriously jumped out. However, when Ku Di saw the cultivation of the person that had come, he instantly calmed down. The other was just a junior that had stepped into True Spirit Realm 6. He was confident he could kill the other with one palm. "You juniors dared to ruin my plans? Do you know who I am? I'm the core disciple of the Wind Element sect, Ku Di. If you know what's good for you, get the hell out of here and I'll spare your life." Ku Di did not place Qinfen in his eyes at all, but he did not plan on fighting Qinfen. After all, Qinfen was young and had already stepped into the middle stage of the True Spirit Realm, so he was at least a disciple of a 5-star sect. If he offended a 5-star sect for a woman, it would not be a wise choice. Ku Di thought that his threats would scare Qinfen away, but Qinfen landed less than 10 meters away from him. Yuanqiu had already rushed to Qinfen's side and was tightly holding his arm. This intimate scene made Ku Di so angry that his lungs were about to explode. "Big Sister Yuanqiu, are you okay?" Qinfen withdrew his cold aura. His expression was gentle as if he had changed into a different person. "I'm fine. Little brother Xiaofeng, be careful." Yuanqiu knew that Qinfen would not let Ku Di go. She wanted to kill this person, but her cultivation was not as high as Ku Di's. Seeing these two ignore him and arrogantly say that they would kill him, Ku Di immediately swung his blade and roared like a wild beast. "Ant Junior, I can kill you with one blade!" Rumble! Blade energy appeared in the air. Ku Di clearly did not hold back. The blade energy in the air seemed to condense into a solid substance, causing the rocks on the mountain to fly everywhere. With this strike, he seemed to see Qinfen being cut in half. Even Yuanqiu would be injured. Ku Di started to worry. Yuanqiu was already injured. If she was killed by this strike, then wouldn't it be fun to play with her? But just as these thoughts appeared in his mind, Ku Di's expression changed. Disbelief shot out of his eyes as he watched Qinfen stand motionlessly on the mountain top. Qinfen casually grabbed at the air. A giant vital energy hand appeared and grabbed his ferocious blade energy in midair. A loud sound exploded in the sky. Qinfen's body was enveloped by a layer of air, so he was not affected by the aftermath of the explosion. This move was too ferocious. Ku Di was dumbstruck. As a core disciple of the 5-star Wind sect, he was very confident in his own strength. Forget about a true spirit realm 4 cultivator, even a hollow god realm level 1 expert would not be able to easily resolve his surekill attack. How did you do it? But the reality was right in front of him. Ku Di had to believe it. Qin Fen's hand exerted strength. The vital energy knife energy in the air that he had gripped was instantly shattered as easily as if he was crushing tofu. He flipped his palm and a giant palm print fell from the sky. The palm print was like a dark cloud falling. It pressed down on Ku Di's head and made it hard for him to breathe. You hid your cultivation? Wait. Elder, don't kill me. It is all because this junior was blind. If Elder can spare my life, I am willing to take you to the array door to the 8th palace. When the cloud of the palm print quickly fell, Ku Di felt an unprecedented presence of death. He knew that if he spoke a second later, he would have been killed by this palm energy. He was shocked. He could not understand how Qin Fen had such a ferocious presence at such a young age. While he guessed that the other was hiding his cultivation, Ku Di could not detect any method of hiding his cultivation. Rumble! The palm print suddenly changed direction and exploded on the mountain behind Ku Di. The mountain top collapsed. Seeing this scene, Ku Di felt fear. He knew that it was fortunate that he had begged for mercy in time. If he had hesitated for even half a second because he was afraid of losing face, it might not have been the mountain that would have shattered but his body. You know the array door to the 8th palace? While he wanted to immediately kill Ku Di, this information was too important to Qin Fen. Ku Di realized this and let out a sigh of relief. He knew that he had managed to keep his life. Elder, I am telling the truth. I'm telling the truth. Not long ago, I happened to come across the array door that leads to the 8th palace. Yu Wanqiu's eyebrows jumped. Little brother Qiao Feng, this guy has a human face but a beast's heart. I feel that his words are false. If he found the array door to the 8th palace, why is he still standing here? Qin Fen immediately looked at Ku Di with killing intent. The latter was so scared that his legs trembled. Elder, please listen to me. I really did see the array door. The reason why I didn't go in was because this junior's strength was too low. If I went to the 8th palace, I would only be sending myself to death. It would be better to stay in the 7th palace and search for treasures. His explanation was reasonable, but Yu Wanqiu maintained a suspicious gaze. This man had ulterior motives for her. No matter what he said, Yu Wanqiu wouldn't believe him. Where is the array door? Qin Fen asked. A crafty look flashed through Ku Di's eyes. He said with a serious expression, It's not far from here, around 50 miles. As long as Elder agrees to spare my life, I can take you there right now. Yu Wanqiu pulled Qin Fen's arm and shook her head at him. Qin Fen had his own thoughts. Of course, he could tell that Ku Di was scheming, but whether it was true or not, he still wanted to go take a look. In the end, Ku Di was only a disciple of a 5-star sect. After coming to the 13th palace, Qin Feng saw that most of the 5-star sects were led by a Nihility God Realm Elder, as well as a few late and peak True Spirit Realm disciples. Even Tianxing and the others that robbed the 5th palace only had 2 early Nihility God Realm Elders. Back then, Qin Fen could kill a group of Void God Realm cultivators. Now that he had broken through to True Spirit Realm 6, he believed that killing early Void God Realm cultivators would be even easier. You lead the way. After Qin Fen made his decision, a look of worry flashed through Yu Wanqiu's eyes, but she didn't try to persuade him again. Ku Di immediately left on his flying sword with Qin Fen and Yu Wanqiu following behind. They didn't see him do anything strange along the way. It was as if he knew that it was impossible to escape from Qin Fen. 50 miles was nothing to the cultivators of the Divine Supreme Continent. The 3 of them flew for a while before arriving at a mountain range. There were many mountain peaks in this area, and the sunlight was blocked by them. The people in the valley felt that their vision was dim, and there was a cold wind blowing. This made Yu Wanqiu feel even more uneasy, but when she saw Qin Fen's determined expression, she didn't say anything. Elder Ku Di, save me! This brat wants to kill me! Ku Di, who was flying in front, suddenly shouted. The flying sword under his feet sped up, and he turned into a golden light that rushed to the bottom of the valley. Yu Wanqiu immediately became vigilant. She discovered that there were 4 powerful auras at the bottom of the valley. She immediately knew that she and Qinfen had fallen into a trap. Qinfen had noticed this a long time ago, but he didn't pay much attention to it. When his divine sense swept the surrounding several thousand meters, there were only 4 auras at the bottom of the valley. The most powerful aura was only at the 2nd level of the Void God realm. However, Qinfen was a little disappointed. He realized that Ku Di had deceived him. This guy had only come to find reinforcements. As for the array door leading to the 8th palace, it was most likely a ruse. However, when he sped up the flying sword and reached the bottom of the valley, he suddenly became excited. In the air behind a green mountain, there was an array door emitting a faint white light. He didn't know where this array door led to, but it was very similar to the array door Qinfen had used to enter the higher palace. There really is an array door here? When Yu Wanqiu saw the situation, she was also shocked. Qinfen didn't pay attention to the 4 cultivators at the array door. He was about to enter with Yu Wanqiu, but when he leaped into the air, a blade light attacked him, forcing him to immediately retreat. A mere true spirit realm 6 ant dares to attack my wind element sex disciple? You simply don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. An old, angry voice rang out. Chapter 1894. Qinfen saw that the aura of the formation door was becoming weaker. He had originally planned on taking Yu Wanqiu inside first, and then finding Ku Di and the others to kill them. Who would have thought that these people would come to their deaths? That strike was made by the only hollow spirit realm cultivator in the group, but the powerful attack missed. Shock flashed through the other party's eyes. He clearly hadn't expected Qinfen, who was only at true spirit realm 6, to be able to dodge his attack. The other 3 disciples were also shocked. Ku Di immediately warned. Elder Ku Zhu, that brat hid his cultivation. Even I am not a match for him. Ku Zhu suddenly woke up. He knew the strength of Ku Di's disciple. He was a top existence among peak true spirit realm 9. If even he was not his opponent's match, then that boy was also a hollow spirit realm cultivator. Ku Di was confused. Hollow spirit realm and true spirit realm were 2 large realms, and the auras of these 2 cultivators were completely different. Even if Qinfen deliberately hid his cultivation, he could not completely hide his hollow spirit realm aura. However, Ku Di only sensed a true spirit realm aura from him. Ku Di did not know what Elder Ku Zhu was thinking. After he tricked Qinfen and Yu Wanqiu into this valley, he changed from his begging appearance to one of arrogance. Ha ha! You ant, do you think our wind element sect has no one else? Today is the day you die. Who asked you to meddle in my business? Ku Di started to jump up again. Ku Zhu coldly glared at him, but he was in a state of arrogance and did not notice the elder's gaze. Just as he finished speaking, a golden light flashed. The golden light was so fast that even Elder Ku Zhu could not react. There was a loud sound in the air. The sound came from Ku Di's body. His body seemed to explode, and a bloody wound appeared on his abdomen. The wound was only the size of a fingernail, but it instantly expanded to cover his entire abdomen. Finally, it exploded into a giant bloody hole. Ku Di, who was at peak true spirit realm 9, died just like that. He did not even know how he died. This scene completely shocked everyone, especially the 3 wind element sect disciples. They were not as strong as Ku Di and thought that Qinfen had entered a tiger's den. Now they realized that they were the lambs waiting to be slaughtered. Elder Bitter Bamboo, what should we do? After the 3 disciples regained their senses, they immediately looked at Ku Zhu. Thinking about the fact that this hollow spirit realm's 2nd stage little elder was here, their nervousness eased a little. Ku Zhu was shocked. He checked Qinfen's cultivation level several times, but he couldn't feel the aura of an empty god realm powerhouse. He was sure that Qinfen was only at the true spirit realm, but a true spirit cultivator could instantly kill Ku Di. Even he couldn't stop him. Who are you? Which sect are you from? Seeing a disciple die at the hands of someone else was a great humiliation to Ku Zhu. However, he didn't dare to do anything in the end. He felt that Qin Feng's identity wasn't simple. Does it matter who I am? What's important is that I've already killed a disciple of your Windflow sect. If you want to take revenge, then go ahead. If you don't dare, then scram. Qin Feng's original intention was to kill the people of the Windflow sect here. However, looking at the weakening void formation gate, if these people knew what was good for them and scram, Qin Feng could let them live a little longer. Such a domineering attitude angered Ku Zhu. Even if he was slightly wary of Qin Feng, he couldn't just leave like this. You don't know your place. In the end, you're just a true spirit cultivator. How dare you act wildly in front of a Hollow God Realm Senior? I can give you a chance to live. Leave behind your storage ring and hand over that woman. Let her die with Ku Di. Then you can leave. Qin Feng laughed coldly. Since these people didn't know what was good for them, he didn't want to waste any more words. A long black blade slashed down, seeming to swallow all the light in the surroundings. A formation of thousands of meters was formed. A strange aura surged from the formation, causing people's spiritual sense to quickly dissipate. Qin Feng had already comprehended the realm to small success. He could completely control the range of the realm. If he attacked with all his strength, the realm could spread for 10 miles. However, after killing a few Hollow God Realm cultivators, he realized that the realm was a very powerful attack. Even late-stage Hollow God Realm cultivators couldn't comprehend it. Qin Feng purposely reduced the range of the realm to avoid unnecessary trouble. After shrinking the realm, the effect of the imprisonment became even more obvious. The 3 true Spirit Realm disciples instantly froze in the realm, as if their souls had been sucked out. On the other hand, Ku Zhu could still open his eyes and speak. An extremely shocked expression appeared on his face. He tried to escape the realm, but no matter how much he struggled, he couldn't move. This is the realm? What realm are you at? How can you comprehend the realm? Ku Zhu couldn't understand. The golden light flashed in the realm, bringing with it a gust of wind. The bodies of the 3 true Spirit Realm disciples exploded. The golden light changed direction and flew towards Ku Zhu. You guessed right. I am only a true Spirit Realm cultivator, but killing you is effortless. This was the last thing Ku Zhu heard before he died. He didn't dare to believe it, but it didn't matter whether he believed it or not. When the flying sword pierced through his heart, it cut his body and his 2 clones into pieces at the same time. Qin Feng put away the imprisonment, but the explosions continued. Yu Wanqiu once again felt her memory suddenly disappear. This time, she finally understood that it was most likely one of Qin Feng's attacks. Thinking about a technique that could make someone's memory disappear made Yu Wanqiu feel terrified. After killing the Wind Element sect disciples, Qin Feng immediately pulled Yu Wanqiu and jumped into the array door that was disappearing in the void. He didn't even have time to take their storage rings. After a sharp pain in their minds, the 2 of them found their feet on the ground. When they saw the scene in front of them, their hearts went cold. This was a wasteland that was shrouded in a thick gray fog. The fog was like dust, and it made one's mood even more depressed. Qin Feng immediately scanned the area with his divine sense, and discovered that there was also an array that blocked divine sense. Moreover, the strength of this array was much stronger than that of the 6th and 7th palaces. It could only scan an area of 100 meters around them. Little brother Qiao Feng, where is this? Yu Wanqiu frowned. Qin Feng didn't know either. The environment here was comparable to the ancient battlefield he had encountered on White Spirit Mountain. Not long ago, when he had been searching for the Mountain of Life on the Zero Palace floor, he had also encountered such an environment. Qin Feng suddenly became happy when he thought of his previous 2 experiences. It seemed that every time he saw a land of ruins like this, he would find a powerful treasure. However, the next second, his joy dissipated, and a strong sense of danger surged in his heart. Rumble! Without thinking, Qin Feng struck in the direction of the incoming danger. The Trui sword in his hand drew out a bolt of lightning, which exploded on the ground that couldn't be seen clearly. The sense of danger suddenly disappeared, but when Qin Feng scanned the area with his divine sense, he only found a huge crater. There was nothing else. Little brother Qiao Feng, does your divine sense hurt? I feel like my divine sense is being attacked. Yu Wanqiu's voice trembled. It was obvious that she was afraid. Qin Feng didn't sense anything abnormal in his divine sense. He just felt that this place was very strange. The air was full of danger, but he couldn't see the enemy. Chapter 1895. Sister Wanqiu, hold this sword. If you encounter another divine sense attack in that direction. Qin Fen gave the genie sword to Yu Wanqiu. After fusing with the dazzling soul-devouring snake's soul-devouring eye, this sword had the effect of a divine sense attack. The genie sword's effect was very obvious. When Yu Wanqiu encountered another divine sense attack, she immediately used the genie sword to cut it off. After repeating this a few times, the remnant divine sense in the air seemed to be afraid of her and didn't launch another divine sense attack. When Qin Fen encountered these strange divine sense attacks, he couldn't help but have some thoughts. Right now, he could only rely on the genie sword's effect to launch a divine sense attack. It would be great if he had a divine sense attack technique. Then, he could just release his divine sense and protect Yu Wanqiu. However, he knew that divine sense attack techniques were very rare and precious. Among the opponents he had encountered so far, no one had such a technique. After dealing with the hidden divine sense attacks, the resistance between the two decreased a lot. They carefully walked into the depths of the gray fog, but they didn't see anyone even after walking for a long time. Little brother Qiao Feng, should we continue walking? I keep feeling that the deeper we go, the stronger the sense of danger. Yu Wanqiu stopped walking. Qin Fen also had this feeling. The danger was always hidden in the surroundings, but when he used his divine sense to scan it, he couldn't find the source of the threat. They had been in this wasteland for more than half a day, but Qin Fen still couldn't figure out where this place was. He even suspected that he and Yu Wanqiu had been teleported outside the 13 palaces. There wasn't even a trace of spirit qi here, let alone treasures. Qin Fen even regretted jumping into the array door. It would have been better to stay in the 7th palace. He now understood one thing. No wonder the 7th palace had a lot of spirit springs. The spirit springs most likely flowed out from the supreme grade spirit veins he had taken away. Now that he had stolen the supreme grade spirit vein from the 7th palace, who knew what would happen to the 7th palace? The spirit springs would probably never form again, and the spirit qi in the entire palace would be reduced by more than half. However, this wasn't something Qin Fen should be concerned about. He and Yu Wanqiu walked for another day and found that there was still a gray area in front of them. It was as if there were no other living beings here. It was just an abandoned land of death. Even though he realized this, it was already too late. Qin Fen tried to find an array to leave, but there wasn't even any spirit qi here. Ah! Little brother Qiao Feng, quickly save me! While the two of them were lost in thought, Yu Wanqiu suddenly screamed. When Qin Feng looked over, he was shocked because he saw Yu Wanqiu's body floating in the air, but he couldn't see anyone around her. It was as if she had been possessed by a ghost. Master! That's not a ghost, it's a ghost! Little Pig's voice rang out. Qin Fen was even more astonished. He knew about spirits. The significance of these things to ghost cultivators was like the importance of spiritual energy to orthodox cultivators. Previously, when he was in the northern Sand region, in order to save Shaoli, he had purposely killed his way into the 5-star ghost cultivator sect, the witchcraft sect. He had even barged into the witchcraft sect's forbidden ground, the Soul Nurturing Palace, and released all the thousands of spirits in the Soul Nurturing Palace. In Qin Feng's impression, ghosts were very weak existences. As long as a cultivator cultivated to the immortal qi stage, they would be able to prevent ghosts from entering their bodies. Yu Wanqiu had already stepped into true spirit realm 8, so how could she be touched by ghosts? Master! Yin souls aren't as simple as you think. The Yin souls you've encountered before were all in the most basic state, And Yin souls are also divided into cultivation levels. A powerful Yin soul isn't inferior to a true spirit realm cultivator. Little Pig quickly explained. So you're saying that the level of the ghosts in this place is very high? Qinfen was a little worried. Since they could trap Yuanqiu, it is clear that those ghosts are at the peak of true spirit realm. Fortunately, there are not many ghosts with this level of cultivation. Otherwise, Master and Yuanqiu would have died here long ago. Qinfen agreed with Little Pig's analysis. He had been to the witchcraft sex soul nurturing palace. Even if the level of the ghosts there was not high, when there was a certain amount, he almost lost his life. If there were a lot of powerful ghosts in this wasteland, he and Yuanqiu would not be able to fight back at all. When he came back to his senses, Qinfen immediately struck the void with his palm. The spirit sunflower heavenly fire flew out, and a few sharp screams came from the void. Then, Yuanqiu fell to the ground. Sister Wanqiu, are you okay? Qinfen immediately rushed over. He realized that he could not be too far away from Yuanqiu right now. Yuanqiu was still in a state of shock. She did not know that the thing that had just restrained her was a ghost. After her body was restrained, she could not slash with the Jinyi sword in her hand. A few powerful divine senses began to attack her sea of consciousness, as if they wanted to take over her divine sense. Little brother Qiaofeng, this place is too strange. We should quickly think of a way to get out. Yuanqiu's voice trembled. Qinfen knew the terror of this place better than she did. Right now, only a few ghosts with powerful divine senses had appeared. If dozens of them jumped out at once, it would be hard to imagine what would happen. However, Qinfen did not plan to retreat even though he knew that there was endless danger in front of him. It would be fine if he could find a formation to get out, but it was difficult to even set up a formation in this place. Under such circumstances, he planned to continue forward and see if he could find some opportunities. Sister Wanqiu, we have no way out. Are you willing to explore the front with me? Qinfen still had to ask for Yuanqiu's opinion. If Yuanqiu retreated, then he would have Yuanqiu stay here and be transported out when the 13 Palaces exploration time was up. Since little brother Qiaofeng wants to continue exploring, then I will naturally accompany you. A resolute light immediately appeared in Yuanqiu's beautiful eyes. A warm feeling surged in Qinfen's heart. In fact, he felt that Yuanqiu would be safer by his side. After calming himself down, the two of them continued on their journey. The closer they got to the center of the dusky land, the stronger the sense of danger became. Yuanqiu was attacked by ghosts a few more times, but Qinfen used his heavenly fire to save her. These ghosts seemed to have intelligence, and they could tell that Qinfen was not someone to be trifled with, so they specifically picked Yuanqiu to deal with. When they reached the foot of a pitch-black mountain range, they felt a biting cold wind all around them. The gloomy feeling made Qinfen think of the soul-nurturing palace hall of the witchcraft sect. The gloomy qi here was even denser than in the soul-nurturing palace hall. The gloomy clouds in the sky looked like they were about to drip black water. Yuanqiu was so scared that she didn't want to continue walking, but when she saw that Qinfen didn't stop, she didn't say anything along the way. When Qinfen stood at the foot of a towering black mountain and looked up, his expression changed greatly. No! This mountain is actually a level 9 array! Yuanqiu was shocked. Huh! Isn't it difficult to set up an array here? Why is there a level 9 array here? Qinfen was also stumped by this question. He was sure that this dusky land didn't have any spirit qi. It was possible to set up an array, but he needed to prepare his own spirit stones or spirit crystals to provide the energy for the array to operate. A level 9 array required a terrifying amount of spirit qi. Moreover, Qinfen could tell at a glance that the level 9 array on the Black Mountain had existed for a long time, so how did this array operate? Or was it because of the existence of this level 9 array that the surrounding spirit qi was sucked dry, resulting in the dusky scene today? Qinfen quickly dispelled the second guess. If the level 9 array really sucked dry the surrounding spirit qi, then this place would at most become a desert, and the level 9 array would disappear. However, this place had become a gathering place for spirits, and the level 9 array on the Black Mountain didn't show any signs of weakening. Little brother Qiao Feng, can you tell what kind of level 9 array this is? Yu Wanqiu was curious. In fact, there was no need for her to ask. Qin Fen had already started reading the array formations encyclopedia. He specifically searched through the level 9 array formations and found a similar array. Big Sister Wanqiu, this is most likely a level 9 soul nurturing array. After reading the array formations encyclopedia, Qin Fen was 90% sure that the array in front of him was the soul nurturing array. Yu Wanqiu was surprised. What does the soul nurturing array do? Qin Fen's expression was solemn. This is a very evil formation. Once the formation is completed, the cultivators who enter the formation will have their souls extracted. In the end, they will become wandering ghosts, and these ghosts will provide the energy for the formation to operate. Yu Wanqiu's scalp went numb when she heard this. This array was too terrifying. Its energy was not provided by spirit qi, but by the cultivator's divine sense. However, she immediately couldn't figure out what was the use of such an array. Qin Fen seemed to have guessed what she was thinking and continued saying, the level 9 soul nurturing array itself is an extremely precious cultivation resource. After the spirit's divine sense energy is absorbed by the array, the divine sense will be stored in the array. When the array is completed, the divine sense in the array will be absorbed by the person who set it up. Huh? There's such an array? Yu Wanqiu was in disbelief. If this soul-nurturing array is truly completed, how terrifying will it be? Qin Fen understood Yu Wanqiu's feelings. In fact, he was also in a state of shock. Compared to the medicine garden in the secret realm of the fallen god island, the tree of life, and the spirit quintessence pool on Mount of Life, the arrangement of this soul-nurturing array was even more brilliant. Once this array was completed, it would absorb the souls of countless cultivators. If these souls were used for one's own use, one's divine sense would become extremely powerful. Qin Fen knew that the higher one's cultivation, the more they would focus on cultivating their divine sense. An expert with a powerful divine sense could kill people without leaving a trace with just a thought. No matter how powerful one's spiritual essence was, once the opponent's divine sense broke through one's divine sense, one would be no different from a puppet whose soul had been extracted. Little brother Qiao Feng, the person who set up this array is definitely not someone we can deal with. Let's quickly think of a way to leave before he discovers us. Yu Wanqiu was really scared this time. Even if she knew that Qin Fen could skip realms and kill early-stage void spirit realm cultivators, she probably wouldn't even know how she died in front of such an abnormal almighty. Chapter 1896. Qin Fen knew better than Yu Wanqiu how terrifying the soul-nurturing formation was. This formation relied on the energy of divine sense, which meant that there was no other source of energy in the formation. The spirits with a trace of divine sense needed energy to grow, so they could only devour the souls of foreign cultivators or kill each other. In such a harsh and cruel environment, the spirits that could survive until the end would become extremely powerful. Qin Fen thought about the spirits that had attacked Yu Wanqiu, and wondered how many cultivators' souls and other spirits they had devoured. However, Qin Fen did not plan on leaving this place, because these spirits had their advantages and disadvantages. If he kept them, he could give them to Shaoli to quickly break through. Qin Fen was still wondering if there was a way to devour the divine sense of these spirits, so that his divine sense could reach the next level. Little brother Qiao Feng, what are you doing? After Yu Wanqiu suggested leaving, she saw that Qin Fen did not move, so she sat cross-legged on the ground and started to refine something. Big Sister Wanqiu, I want to set up a few formations. Yu Wanqiu was stunned. I thought we couldn't set up formations here? Little brother Qiao Feng, why don't we go back to the periphery of the soul-nurturing formation? It doesn't feel safe here. Qin Fen understood Yu Wanqiu's thoughts, but since he had figured out that this was a soul-nurturing formation, he naturally could not come here for nothing. Big Sister Wanqiu, hold the Jin Yi sword well and attack if you encounter any danger. Call me if you can't handle it. Qin Fen clapped his hands, and dozens of balls of spirit sunflower heavenly fire landed around him, forming a circle. The heavenly fire rose 2 to 3 meters high, completely protecting Qin Fen and Yu Wanqiu in the formation. Qin Fen knew that these spirits were most afraid of unusual flames. After doing this, Qin Fen started to set up the formation with peace of mind. He took out more than 30 spirit crystals to provide the formation's spirit qi. Fortunately, no one else saw this, or else their eyes would have popped out of their sockets. Spirit crystals were extremely rare top-notch spirit stones in the South Flat Continent, and most cultivators would treasure them like treasures. They would only take them out to try breaking through if they encountered a bottleneck that was difficult to break through. There was probably no one else in the South Flat Continent who could use spirit crystals to set up a level 5 spirit formation like Qin Fen. Actually, Qin Feng was also very helpless. Even though he still had close to 1,000 spirit crystals, every time he used them, he would feel a pang of pain. After all, there was no spirit qi in this soul-nurturing formation. When more than 30 spirit crystals were piled together, a wave of ferocious spirit qi surged out. The flow of spirit qi quickly condensed and formed a small spirit qi vortex above Qin Feng and Yu Wanqiu's heads. "Little brother Qiao Feng, that's over 30 spiritual crystals!" Yu Wanqiu was stunned by Qin Feng's extravagance. He was actually using spirit crystals to set up an array? Qin Feng had already expected this from Yu Wanqiu, so he said with a faint smile, "Big sister Wanqiu, don't worry about me. You should be careful. There might be a lot of ghosts coming, so don't get attacked by them." After reminding him, Qin Feng continued to set up the formation with peace of mind. With the appearance of the spiritual qi whirlpool, the process of setting up the formation sped up a lot. In just 2 hours, 2 level 5 defense formations and 1 level 5 killing formation had been set up. Qin Feng didn't stop. He definitely wouldn't underestimate the existence of the soul-nurturing formation. Moreover, this was a level 9 soul-nurturing formation that had existed for who knew how many years. It was unknown how many ghosts had been nurtured in this formation, and it was also a mystery how many powerful ghosts were among those ghosts. When the level 5 confinement formation took effect, Yu Wanqiu heard waves of blood-curdling screams. The screams were extremely miserable, and the pitch was very sharp. They didn't sound like they came from a human's mouth. They sounded more like wandering ghosts. Soon, Yu Wanqiu discovered that the situation had changed. An illusory white light appeared within a 100-meter radius around her. The white light seemed to be trapping something. It should be the ghosts that were screaming. After the ghosts were trapped by the white light, they would condense into black agate-like crystals and fall to the ground. At that moment, there were already hundreds of black agates on the ground. "Little brother Qiao Feng, look! What's going on over there?" Yu Wanqiu knew that Qin Feng was wholeheartedly setting up the formation, so she didn't want to disturb him. However, the scene in front of her was too strange, and it was beyond her understanding. When Qin Feng opened his eyes, a look of surprise immediately appeared in his eyes. He had seen the black agate-like crystals before. It was in the witchcraft sex soul-nurturing palace. At that time, the soul-nurturing palace raised tens of thousands of ghosts, but only a few dozen black crystals were condensed. Moreover, the crystals in the witchcraft sex soul-nurturing palace were only the size of ping-pong balls, and they were not transparent. However, the black crystals condensed in the confinement formation were the size of goose eggs. They were crystal clear and looked very beautiful. At that time, Qin Feng didn't know what those black crystals were. Only after asking Shaoli did he understand that they were soul crystals condensed by the souls of ghosts, just like the spiritual pearls that appeared after a true spirit cultivator died. Qin Feng suddenly realized that these soul crystals were produced by burnt spirits. Those spirits were unable to escape after entering the level 5 trap formation, so they perished under the burning of the spirit's sunflower flame. In the end, they turned into soul crystals and remained in the world. After understanding this, Qin Feng was ecstatic. The reason why he set up the level 5 confinement formation was not to trap the ghosts and then kill them with the spirit's sunflower flame. His original intention was to prevent the appearance of powerful ghosts. If he really encountered a ghost that he couldn't deal with, he could use the confinement formation to trap the other party and buy time for him and Yu Wanqiu to escape. Before this, Qin Feng was still thinking about how to devour the divine sense of these ghosts. Now that he saw the soul crystals, all these concerns disappeared. Soul crystals and spirit stones were the same type of material, so Qin Feng could completely absorb the divine sense inside the soul crystals for cultivation. Sister Wanqiu, we've struck it rich this time. These are all rare soul crystals! Qin Feng shouted excitedly, and immediately began to set up the level 5 confinement formation. Yu Wanqiu's eyes were filled with shock. She had heard of soul crystals. Simply put, spirit stones provided resources for cultivators to increase their cultivation realm, while soul crystals were resources to increase the strength of a cultivator's divine sense. However, spirit stones could be found everywhere in the South Flat Continent. Even supreme-grade spirit stones could be found, but soul crystals seemed to be a legendary treasure. At the very least, this was the first time Yu Wanqiu had seen a soul crystal in her life. After more confinement formations were activated, more and more soul crystals fell to the ground. Yu Wanqiu even felt like she was dreaming. Were these really soul crystals? Why did they feel as worthless as spirit stones? After setting up 5 confinement formations in a row, Qin Feng temporarily stopped. He immediately put the soul crystals on the ground into his storage ring. After a rough count, there were more than 2,000 of them. The surrounding gray fog was hazy, as if nothing had changed. Qin Feng was extremely shocked. He couldn't imagine how many soul crystals he would collect if he burned all the ghosts in this level 9 soul nurturing formation to death. Qin Feng really planned to keep burning. After all, a soul crystal was hard to find outside. However, just as this thought emerged, more than a dozen ferocious divine senses flew over from all directions, bringing with them waves of chilly wind that blew the spirit sunflower flame away. Little brother Qiao Feng, it seems like a very powerful ghost has come. Yu Wanqiu was shocked. When she cried out, Qin Feng had already sent out several palms in all directions. The spirit sunflower heavenly fire rose into the sky, illuminating most of the gray sky. The aura of the dozen or so black winds weakened, and even a few divine senses retreated. Qin Feng immediately took out a long sword and threw it into Yu Wanqiu's hand. The longsword shone with a golden light, and purple lightning lingered on the blade. It was a Thunder Soul sword formed by the fusion of the Great Sage Gold Equipment Thunder Divine Sword and the Powder Soul Severing Sword. It was a powerful weapon to deal with ghost cultivators. The longsword swung out, and several purple lightning bolts exploded in the void. A few black winds were struck by the lightning bolts, and miserable howls came from within. The sharp sounds made Yu Wanqiu's scalp tingle. Qin Feng had been to the witchcraft sex soul nurturing palace, so the interference of the ghosts' voices had no effect on him. He once again sent out several palms in the void. The spirit sunflower heavenly fire burned fiercely, as if it was going to illuminate the gray sky. After a few fierce attacks, a few soul crystals fell from the sky. These soul crystals were clearly bigger than the previous ones, and they were even more crystal clear. When these soul crystals fell to the ground, Qin Feng immediately became spirited, and his moves became more ferocious. The ghosts that wanted to escape were all burned into soul crystals and fell. Yu Wanqiu's eyes were filled with shock. The more she interacted with Qin Feng, the more she couldn't understand him. She didn't pay attention to the blue flame before, but now she recognized it. It was the heavenly fire spirit sunflower, ranked 20th on the divine continent. Big Sister Wanqiu, the ghosts that appeared are getting stronger and stronger. The group I just burned to death is comparable to the strength of a peak true spirit realm cultivator. You have to be careful from now on. Qin Feng clearly had no intention of retreating. When he saw the soul crystals of a peak true spirit realm ghost, he couldn't wait for another batch of ghosts of this strength, or a few ghosts that had stepped into the void god realm. Those ghosts seemed to understand his thoughts, and a large number of powerful auras surged over. A chilly wind whistled in the air, and the area where Qin Feng and Yu Wanqiu were at seemed to be surrounded by black clouds. It was unknown how many powerful ghosts were hidden in the black fog. Before they could launch their divine sense attacks, the miserable howls that came one after another made Yuanqiu uneasy. It's just a group of dead souls. Die! Qin Feng was not afraid. He raised the lightning soul sword and took the initiative to attack. The sword pierced through the sky, and several purple lightning condensed into a purple lightning dragon, exploding half the sky with a loud sound. The black fog dispersed, and dozens of soul crystals fell to the ground. However, in the blink of an eye, the dispersed black fog gathered again, and quickly attacked Qin Feng. Little brother Qiao Feng, save me! Yuanqiu's cry for help reached his ears. Her body floated in the air, but she was entangled by the ghosts again. But this time, the spirits that were pestering her were slightly different. Qin Feng saw a few pairs of eyes emitting green light floating in the air. When he used his divine sense to capture the aura of those eyes, a strong sense of danger welled up in his heart. Rumble! Without much time to think, Qin Feng sent out several palm strikes, and the spirit sunflower fiercely burned around Yuanqiu. A few screams came from the flames, but they quickly escaped. Qin Feng held Yuanqiu, who had fallen to the ground, and his mood immediately became serious. Heavenly fire was the natural enemy of ghosts. The ghosts that appeared before had no room to escape when they were burned by the heavenly fire, but the green eyes that appeared this time had actually escaped. Chapter 1897. Before Yuanqiu could figure out what those green eyes were, a dozen more faint green lights appeared and disappeared in the black fog. Yuanqiu felt a stabbing pain in her divine sense. This time, it was useless even if she used the genie sword to slash at it. Even Qin Fen felt his divine sense being attacked, let alone Yuanqiu. Although he was only at level 6 true spirit, his divine sense was as strong as a middle or late stage void spirit realm cultivator's because he cultivated the creation chapter. Moreover, he had bought mental energy potions from the system and eaten many pills that strengthened his divine sense. His divine sense was now as strong as a middle or late stage void spirit realm cultivator's. How could he still be attacked? Qin Fen immediately realized that these faint green eyes were very powerful spirits. They had at least reached the void spirit realm. They must have devoured too many souls to the point that they could even reconstruct their eyes. Master, I'm afraid these are soul cultivators! Little Pig exclaimed. This was Qin Fen's first time hearing about soul cultivators. He had some understanding of orthodox martial cultivators, demonic cultivators, and even ghost cultivators, but he didn't know what soul cultivators were. Little Pig could read his thoughts and immediately explained. Master! Soul cultivators are a group that is even rarer than ghost cultivators. If you want to become a soul cultivator, you must first have a soul cultivation technique. As the name suggests, soul cultivation is the process of a cultivator's divine sense, or even a remnant thought, after they die. They rely on external forces to continuously strengthen themselves and finally cultivate their true body. Once a soul cultivator reaches the advanced stage and is reborn, their strength will be several times stronger than when they were at their peak before they died. The most powerful aspect is their divine sense. Qin Fen exclaimed in his heart. He realized that he had underestimated the almighty being who had set up this soul-nurturing formation. Not only had the other party set up a level 9 soul-nurturing formation in the 13 palaces, but it wasn't as simple as taking away the souls of the intruders. That almighty had actually left behind a soul cultivation method here, specifically for those cultivators who had lost their lives to cultivate. Soul cultivators could only be reborn after reaching the advanced stage. Thus, the dead cultivators would definitely cultivate the technique until they reached the advanced stage and even kill each other. Now, these ghosts whose eyes were emitting green light had obviously cultivated to the small success stage and had already reconstructed their eyes. One could imagine how many ghosts and divine senses they had devoured. After coming down, Qin Feng knew that it was impossible for these spirits to cultivate the technique to completion. This was because the Almighty who had set up the soul-nurturing formation had purposely left the technique here to nurture these spirits. When these spirits were about to reach completion, the Almighty who had set up the formation would definitely come back to devour these powerful spirits. The green-eyed spirits in front of him were comparable to the empty god realm. It was hard for Qinfen to imagine how powerful the Almighty was to be able to control so many spirits, and not be afraid of being killed. However, he quickly realized that this wasn't something he should be thinking about. What he needed to do now was to find that soul cultivation technique. Qinfen absolutely did not intend to cultivate that cultivation method. Moreover, he also had no way to cultivate it. Only a dead cultivator could use their divine sense or remnant thoughts to cultivate it. But Qinfen guessed that the soul cultivation method definitely had a method to devour divine sense, and it might even have a method to attack divine sense. This was what he needed. Little brother Qiao Feng, what are these green eyes? They can't be vicious beasts, right? After being rescued, Yuan Qiu's body kept trembling. Her surroundings were shrouded in a layer of gray mist, and the pairs of green lights appeared. They really did look like the eyes of vicious beasts. Qinfen was sure that they were not vicious beasts. His divine sense was much stronger than Yuan Qiu's, and he had already scanned the surroundings several times. There were no humans in this black mist, so there was no doubt that these were ghosts of soul cultivators with small success. Big Sister Wanchio, don't be afraid. Just sit in the formation and don't move. I will protect you. Qinfen didn't say much about soul cultivators, so as not to make Yuanchio even more nervous. As soon as he finished speaking, the Thunder Soul sword in his hand pierced forward, bringing with it a purple thunderbolt that exploded in the black mist. A few miserable screams came from inside, and Yuanchio's scalp went numb. Rumble! The long sword fell, and Qinfen immediately shot out a few more spirit sunflowers. The ghosts from before had already turned into soul crystals and fell to the ground under such a fierce attack. However, these green eyes were too powerful. Even if they were burned by the heavenly fire, they didn't seem to be destroyed. Not only were the ghosts not dead, but they were also approaching Qinfen. Although they weren't fast, the surrounding black mist was getting closer and closer to Qinfen and Yuanqiu. The situation made them anxious. This situation made him anxious. Qinfen immediately took out the 100-kilometer light sniper and randomly fired at the black fog around him. Suddenly, thunder rumbled, and the 9 transformations True Thunder and the black lightning on the Life Mountain intertwined and exploded. Such a fierce attack stunned Yuanqiu. She finally understood how those Void God Realm cultivators had died at Qinfen's hands. In this kind of fierce tribulation lightning, even Void God Realm experts at the early stage had no hope of survival. But this time, the ranged sniper rifle disappointed Qinfen. Even though the thunder attack was fierce and invincible, it was like a ferocious punch hitting cotton when used on the ghosts. These ghosts didn't have physical bodies, so the thunder attack couldn't hit their divine sense. It only left countless potholes on the ground. Under this bombardment, Qinfen could only move in a circle with a diameter of less than 10 meters. He could clearly hear the mournful screams coming from the black mist. It was as if there were millions of ghosts hidden in the black mist. The soul-sucking sounds could even disturb one's mind. Yuanqiu's beautiful eyes had already lost their luster. It was as if her soul had been sucked out. Even Qinfen's divine sense felt a stabbing pain. He tried to resist the invading divine sense attacks, but he found it extremely strenuous. Qinfen realized that if he continued to wait like this, he and Yuanqiu would die here. He even regretted not taking Yuanqiu away from here earlier. The divine sense of those green-eyed ghosts was stronger than he had imagined. But there was no point in saying this now. Qinfen immediately threw 2 perfumed consciousness pills into his mouth. Suddenly, rich spirit qi overflowed. Qinfen felt the stabbing pain in his divine sense lessen a lot, and the dizziness in his mind disappeared. He didn't dare to delay any longer, and immediately took out the ranged sniper rifle. This time, he didn't use the energy tank to attack. Instead, he put the spirit sunflower fire seed into the energy tank. Rumble! The sniper rifle fired dozens of shots in a row. In front of Qinfen stood a golden bell that was as tall as a person. The bell's mouth was aimed at the void. When the spirit sunflower flame was fired from the ranged sniper rifle into the bell, its power immediately increased. It turned into dozens of fire dragons that rushed into the void. Mournful screams rose and fell, but this time, the sound was a little different from before. The previous strange screams seemed to be deliberately shouted by ghosts to disturb one's mind, but this time, the ghostly wails and wolf howls seemed to come from the heart. They were burned to this state by the strengthened spirit sunflower. The black mist that was about to stick to Qianfen's body suddenly dispersed, and a dozen or so fist-sized soul crystals fell at Qianfen's feet. These soul crystals were not only translucent and shiny, but the center of the soul crystals also emitted a dark green light. It was clear that they were a grade higher than the soul crystals from before. Seeing that the spirit sunflower and the sky bell were finally effective, Qianfen fired dozens of shots without thinking. Blue flames filled the sky, and the spirit sunflower flame hung in the air without being extinguished, forming a strange spectacle. When the black mist dispersed to a distance of 100 meters, Yuanchio's mind became clear. She was stunned by the dragon-like flames floating in the sky. This scene was so beautiful that she even forgot about her current situation. "Big Sister Yuanchio, take this weapon. If the black mist gathers, immediately shoot." Qianfen handed the ranged sniper rifle to Yuanchio, and she immediately said anxiously, "Little brother Qiaofeng, where are you going?" As soon as she shouted, she couldn't see Qianfen's figure anymore. He had already leaped away, leaving a golden light under his feet. The golden light was quickly swallowed up by the black mist, and no one knew where it went. At this time, Qianfen was in the black mist, and his body was burning with a purple flame. It was the purple serene flame, ranked 5th on the divine continent. The purple serene flame was a bit weaker than the spirit sunflower. Although a large amount of black mist still dispersed, those green eyes followed Qianfen all the way. Fortunately, Qianfen's flying sword was extremely fast, and the black mist was gradually pulled away. After flying for the time it took for an incense stick to burn, Qianfen arrived at the peak of the Black Mountain. He had long discovered that the core of the soul-nurturing formation was arranged on this Black Mountain. The reason he risked his life to rush here was to see if the soul cultivation technique was hidden here. When the flying sword landed on the mountain peak, Qianfeng immediately saw a cultivation technique's secret realm floating in the air. The cultivation technique was open, and the contents were floating around the Black Mountain. Any ghost that passed by here would be able to see the contents of the cultivation technique. After seeing the floating cultivation technique, Qianfen was even more sure of his previous guess. It seemed like the Almighty who arranged the soul-nurturing formation was not only to devour the divine souls of intruders, but also to cultivate a group of powerful soul cultivators. Another thought flashed in Qianfen's mind. He began to suspect that the Almighty couldn't devour the divine souls of so many powerful soul cultivators at once, and the rest of the soul cultivators could be controlled by the Almighty and become his puppets. Qianfen knew that it was not easy to control these powerful soul cultivators whose cultivation was comparable to the nihility god realm. Qianfen was shocked by the Almighty's technique. He had always thought that the cultivation techniques he possessed were as many as the hairs on an ox, but compared to the Almighty's technique, it was child's play. These thoughts just flashed in his mind, and Qianfen immediately felt hundreds of powerful divine souls sweeping over. He immediately put the floating cultivation technique into his storage ring, and without thinking, he stepped on his flying sword and fled. The Yin souls near the Black Mountain all chased after Qianfen. It seemed that the floating cultivation technique in the soul-nurturing formation was the treasure they guarded, and now that the treasure was stolen, these Yin souls went crazy. The purple flame could no longer resist the black fog, and a large number of Yin souls surrounded Qianfen. There were dozens of green eyes floating in the middle of these Yin souls. This was comparable to dozens of nihility god realm cultivators blocking Qianfen's way. The divine souls attacked in an instant, and it was like a hail of bullets crashing into Qianfen's sea of consciousness. He didn't even have time to swallow the fragrant consciousness pill, and his consciousness disappeared. The flying sword under his feet fell to the ground, and Qianfen's body floated in the air, completely covered by the black fog. The few spirit armors on his body quickly shattered and fell to the ground. It seemed like in a few more seconds, his body and divine soul would be completely devoured. Reading friends, you can search for Blue Book Bar, and you will find this site the first time. Chapter 1898. Rumble. A loud noise exploded around Qin Feng, and the black fog was burned by the blue flames that filled the sky. Miserable screams shook the earth, and countless soul crystals fell to the ground. It turned out that Yuanqiu had rushed over with the 100-mile light sniper and the sky clock. The power of the spirit's sunflower flame, which had been strengthened by the sky clock, was ferocious. Even the dozens of powerful spirits that had reconstructed their green eyes were extinguished, and most of them fled. Qin Feng's divine sense quickly recovered. When he regained consciousness, he immediately ate 2 fragrant consciousness pills. The stinging pain in his divine sense gradually healed, and the true essence in his body began to circulate again. After escaping from death, Qin Feng realized how powerful those spirits were. Even if he was reluctant to part with those soul crystals, he didn't stop for even a moment. He immediately took Yuanqiu and escaped from the center of the formation. The two of them drove the flying cloud all as they sprinted, and the spirits that were chasing them were quickly thrown far behind. When they returned to the outermost area of the soul-nurturing formation, the oppressive and gloomy feeling finally dissipated. "Little brother Qiao Feng, we actually escaped alive?" Yuanqiu found it hard to believe. Those spirits had become her nightmare. Just thinking about it made her feel terrified. "I have to thank Big Sister Yuanqiu for saving my life. Otherwise, I would have really died inside." Qin Feng was a little scared when he thought about it. If he had really died, what would Su Ruoro and the others do? Ever since she met Qin Feng, Yuanqiu had always felt that she was a burden. Now that she could save Qin Feng's life, she was extremely happy. The two of them had escaped in such a hurry that they didn't even notice that their clothes had been torn by the spirits. Now that they could finally catch their breath, Qin Feng's gaze fell on Yuanqiu's chest. Her fair skin was not covered at all, and it made people's hearts beat faster. Yuanqiu immediately realized her embarrassment. At the same time, she discovered that Qin Feng's clothes were also torn. His strong muscles and perfect figure made Yuanqiu blush. Yuanqiu was unexpectedly not in a hurry to change into a new set of clothes. She lowered her head as if she was waiting for something. Qin Feng understood her thoughts and almost couldn't hold back, but he quickly calmed down. They were still inside the soul-nurturing formation. Who knew if there would be powerful spirits chasing after them? Yuanqiu immediately realized their current situation. Now was not the time to do other things. She immediately changed into a new dress, and the blush on her face did not fade for a long time. "Brother Qiao Feng, why did you risk your life and rush to the top of the mountain?" Yuanqiu changed the topic. Qin Feng took out the book that was floating in the air. He had wanted to study this soul cultivation book for a long time, but he hadn't had the time to do so. "Sister Yuanqiu, I found a soul cultivation method." Yuanqiu was shocked. "What? So little brother Qiao Feng went to get the soul cultivation technique. No wonder those ghosts chased after you like crazy. Now that you've taken the technique, will those soul cultivators chase after you?" Qin Feng was also quite worried about this matter. This soul cultivation technique was the faith of those spirits. They were hoping to be reborn after their soul cultivation technique was completed. If they didn't have the soul cultivation technique, there would forever be a trace of divine sense and remnant thoughts. However, he had been at the periphery for a while, but he didn't see any powerful spirits chasing after him. Qin Feng realized that the spirits couldn't leave the center of the soul-nurturing formation, or in other words, their strength would be affected if they left the area. This discovery made Qin Feng relax. Right now, he couldn't find the formation door to leave the rank 9 soul-nurturing formation. If all the spirits chased after him to steal the soul cultivation technique, Qin Feng felt that he could only hide in the astral boundary with Yuanqiu. Taking advantage of his free time, Qin Feng hurriedly set up 2 rank 5 trap formations and a rank 5 killing formation. He ignited spirit sunflower flames around the trap formations, and carefully took out the soul cultivation technique. The technique floated in the air and opened a dozen or so pages of Heart Sutra. Yu Wanqiu immediately opened her beautiful eyes wide and read it. She quickly realized that this was a soul cultivation technique, and it should be a very high-grade one. Ding! Host Qinfen has collected the soul returning technique. The reward is 500,000 hedonist points. The host has a total of 1,229,000 hedonist points. The system's notification sounded, and Qinfen found out that the soul cultivation technique was called the soul returning technique. He also calculated the total amount of hedonist points he had spent. He still needed 900,000 hedonist points to raise to rank 9 hedonist mortal. While Qinfen was reading the soul returning technique, the Heart Sutra of creation in his body circulated rapidly. The floating words seemed to jump and automatically flew into his mind. The words quickly formed a picture, and some profound and exquisite content was simply displayed. Qinfen gradually sank into the soul returning technique. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. When he opened his eyes again, Yu Wanqiu was staring at him anxiously. When she saw that he had woken up, she immediately revealed a pleasantly surprised expression. "Little brother Qiaofeng, are you all right? You almost scared me to death." Qinfen didn't know what had happened. He felt that he was gradually getting tired from reading the soul returning technique. Then, he fell asleep. He didn't know how long he had slept. "Big sister Wanqiu, what time is it now?" Yu Wanqiu immediately replied. "You slept for a month. I discovered that your aura and true essence are normal, so I didn't dare to wake you up. I was deeply afraid that it would cause you to go berserk, or something." Qinfen was shocked. He had actually slept for a month. Didn't that mean that this month had been wasted? The time for the 13 palaces should be almost up. In the next second, a majestic wave of information surged into his mind, almost causing his scalp to explode. Qinfen immediately realized that this month hadn't been a waste. He had completely comprehended the soul returning technique and memorized it in his mind. "Little brother Qiaofeng, what's wrong?" Seeing that Qinfen's expression was somewhat painful, Yu Wanqiu immediately became worried. She was deeply afraid that he would fall asleep again. When the surging wave of information calmed down, Qinfen smiled and said, "Big sister Wanqiu, I have learned the soul returning technique. My guess was right. There is a part of this technique that uses divine sense to attack." Yu Wanqiu was dumbfounded. Even though she knew that Qinfen was abnormal, she discovered that this person was abnormal beyond the horizon. Yu Wanqiu had also seen the soul returning technique, but she couldn't comprehend it at all. Perhaps only after becoming a divine sense or a remnant will you be able to understand some of the mysteries of this technique. However, Qinfen had directly comprehended this profound technique after sleeping for a month. This kind of talent left others in the dust. After being pleasantly surprised, Qinfen immediately discovered that the 2 level 5 formations he had set up had disappeared. Even the level 5 killing formations were gone, but the ground was covered with soul crystals. He didn't need to ask to know that many ghosts had attacked in the past month. Qinfen knew that the 2 level 5 trapping formations had only disappeared for less than half a day. He rejoiced in his heart that he had woken up at the right time. Without the trapping formations and the spirit sunflower flame, he believed that Yu Wanqiu wouldn't even be able to last an hour against those ghosts. While he was thinking, more than a dozen ghosts' divine senses comparable to those at the true spirit realm swept over. Qinfen wanted to use the spirit sunflower flame to directly kill them, but his sea of consciousness instinctively shot out a few divine sense attacks. Then, he heard a scream coming from the black mist. That scream was definitely the most miserable sound he had ever heard. Soon, more than a dozen soul crystals fell to the ground. Yu Wanqiu felt Qinfen's divine sense attack, and her beautiful eyes were filled with shock again. She looked at Qinfen in disbelief and said, "Little brother Qiaofeng, you actually used divine sense to kill those ghosts?" Even Qinfen himself was surprised. Before he went into hibernation, even though his divine sense was comparable to the strength of a mid-late void god realm cultivator, he still couldn't kill those ghosts. He couldn't even use divine sense attacks. However, after he went into hibernation, his divine sense formed an autonomous offensive ability. Although that ability was somewhat difficult to control, it was already a leap forward. It should be because of the soul homing technique. I wasn't sleeping for that month. I was cultivating the divine sense cultivation method of the soul homing technique. Qin Fen suddenly realized. Yu Wanqiu didn't know what to say. She was now completely sure of one thing. Qin Fen was the most outstanding cultivation genius in the entire South Flat continent. Even the genius disciples of seven-star sects would lose their luster in front of him. Afterward, a few more groups of ghosts came over intermittently, but they were all killed by Qin Fen's divine sense. Qin Fen strengthened his control over his divine sense attacks while killing the ghosts. He even hoped that more ghosts would come so that he could control his divine sense more flexibly and freely. However, things didn't go as he wished. After a few waves of ghosts were destroyed, the remaining ghosts seemed to have realized that there was a powerful existence here and intentionally went around the area where Qin Fen was hiding. Qin Fen didn't know whether to laugh or cry at this scene. He even had the urge to charge back to the soul-nurturing array core, but he suppressed this thought in the end. The green-eyed ghosts in the array core were too powerful. It would be fine if he encountered one or two, but there were more than 10 of them at once. Qin Fen still had a slim chance of survival. After calculating the time, there were still 5 or 6 days until the 13 palaces closed. Qin Fen sensed that Yu Wanqiu's quintessential essence was already saturated, and there was even spirit qi overflowing from her body. This was clearly a sign that she was about to break through. Qin Fen helped her set up a protective array, planning to let her break through to true Spirit Realm 9 here. When he brought up this idea, Yu Wanqiu was shocked. There wasn't a trace of spirit qi here, and there were countless ghosts lurking in the surroundings. This was no place for a breakthrough. However, she quickly realized that Qin Fen wasn't joking. This was because a level 5 spirit gathering array was quickly formed. When Qin Fen threw 10 spirit crystals into the spirit gathering array, a small spirit qi whirlpool formed above her head. When Yu Wanqiu saw that Qin Fen had used 10 spirit crystals to help her break through, she felt both distressed and grateful. She didn't waste any more time and immediately ate the spirit qi pill that Qin Fen had given her in an attempt to break through to true Spirit Realm 9. With Qin Fen protecting her, the breakthrough process was very smooth. When Yu Wanqiu opened her eyes again, she revealed a pleasantly surprised expression. "Little brother Qiao Feng, I really broke through. Congratulations, Sister Wanqiu. You will soon become a void spirit realm cultivator." Qin Fen was happy for Yu Wanqiu. Yu Wanqiu's eyes were as gentle as water as she stared at Qin Fen. Before she met Qin Fen, she would never have thought that she would be able to rise 2 levels in 3 months. This was all thanks to Qin Fen, so she didn't know how to repay him. Chapter 1899. Just as the atmosphere became a little ambiguous, 2 rays of white light shone on their bodies. They felt dizzy, and when they opened their eyes again, they were in the outskirts of the Panshan market. Qin Fen realized that the 13 palaces had closed, and it had closed a few days earlier than he had expected. The usually desolate countryside was now filled with people, but when Qin Fen looked around, he discovered that the number of cultivators who had been teleported out was 2/3 less than the number who had entered. At this moment, Qin Fen realized the danger of the 13 palaces. It was worthy of being one of the 8 danger zones of the South Flat continent. 6 out of 10 people would die, but every 10 years, there would still be countless cultivators fighting for a spot. This was the law of survival in the divine continent. If you didn't perish while cultivating, you would fall under someone else's blade. Qin Fen suddenly felt lucky. He felt lucky that he had the hedonist sovereign system, which helped him survive several life and death situations. Otherwise, the devouring black fog in the secret realm of the Godfall Island, the black lightning on the mountain of life, the Yin spirit in the soul-nurturing array. Any one of these places could have killed him. He inadvertently thought of the tribulation taker that the barefoot spiritual master had mentioned, and suddenly felt that it was not a coincidence. Perhaps the tribulation taker really existed, and was a destined candidate. No matter how hard others tried, they could not become the tribulation taker. Before these messy thoughts disappeared, an old and deep voice resounded in the wilderness. I am Lin Sui, the great elder of the seven-star sect Gu Xiaoyao. I heard that our sect's genius disciple, Lin Shi, was killed in the 13 palaces, so I came here to investigate. According to the other disciples, Lin Shi did not die from a natural disaster, but from a human. Now I want to find that arrogant kid. When the voice came out of the 13 palaces, everyone was whispering to each other, and the scene was noisy. However, when Lin Sui's voice sounded, the crowd immediately quieted down and looked at each other. Someone killed Gu Xiaoyao's genius disciple? Is that person crazy? Rumor has it that Elder Lin Sui has entered the cauldron-filling realm, and even some sect leaders of 6-star sects are no match for him, so there's a saying in the South Flat Continent, even if your cultivation deviates, don't offend the 7-star sects. When Qin Feng heard the discussions of the crowd, he was slightly nervous. Gu Xiaoyao's genius disciple, Lin Shi, had died by his hands. However, he did not expect that this matter would alarm Gu Xiaoyao's grand elder to personally rush over. Qin Feng was a little scared. Fortunately, he had immediately fled with Yuanqiu after killing Lin Shi. He hadn't even taken Lin Shi's storage ring and the leaf of the 9-leaf banana with him. Now, it seemed that if he had left a little later, he wouldn't be here today. Because Qin Feng saw Lin Sui. His body was a bit illusory, and he was faintly discernible as he floated in the clouds in the air. There were 4 people standing beside Lin Sui. Those 4 people were obviously from the 13 palaces, and they were probably from the same sect as Lin Shi. Among the 4 of them, the 2 younger ones were at Nihility God Stage 3, the 2 older ones were at Nihility God Stage Late Stage, and the other one was at least at Body Condensation Stage. With such a powerful lineup, if Qin Feng had been caught by them, he would have died without a doubt. After some discussion, no one stepped forward. Instead, a figure flew over from the void. His aura was as strong and steady as Gu Xiaoyao's great elder, Lin Sui. Qin Feng knew this person. He was Gu Wanjiao, the Vice Valley Master of the Divine Wind Valley, one of the 7-star sections 3 months ago. He was the one who opened the 13 palaces entrance formation. Why is Elder Lin Sui here? Gu Wanjiao's body floated near Lin Sui. Lin Sui's figure could not be seen clearly in the clouds, let alone his expression. However, his voice was a bit cold. Humph! What does my presence here have to do with you? I am dealing with the sect's matters, and I have no time for you. Gu Wanjiao was the Vice Valley Master of the Divine Wind Valley. It was rumored that he had reached cauldron-filling realm. In the entire South Flat Continent, there were not many people who dared to speak to him like Lin Sui did. Gu Wanjiao was not angry. He said indifferently, I don't care if you want to find someone, but the opening and closing of the 13 palaces are managed by the Divine Wind Valley. Now that the 13 palaces have just closed, I have the obligation to ensure the safety of this place. The opening and closing of the 13 palaces are managed by the Divine Wind Valley? Qin Feng asked Yuanqiu in disbelief. Yuanqiu was speechless. She knew that Qin Feng had killed Lin Shi, so when Lin Sui personally came to find him, Yuanqiu was so nervous that she broke out in a cold sweat. Unexpectedly, she found that Qin Feng did not seem to care too much and was still concerned about the 13 palaces. Yes, little brother Qiao Feng. This is not a secret in the South Flat Continent. Anyway, every 10 years the Divine Wind Valley will send people to open the 13 palaces teleportation formation. After the formation ends, someone will close it. Yuanqiu still answered his question. Qin Feng had always heard cultivators say how powerful the 7-star sects of the South Flat Continent were. Only now did he deeply understand how powerful they were. A 7-star sect's head elder and Vice Valley Master had reached cauldron-filling realm. Did that mean that the sect master and valley master had reached disaster transformation realm? The 13 palaces were actually managed by the Divine Wind Valley. Qin Feng knew that the 13 palaces were not created by the Divine Wind Valley. There were rumors that the 13 palaces had been passed down from ancient times and might even be an immortal artifact left behind by an almighty. Even if it was just managing the formation of the 13 palaces, it was already very powerful. When Qin Feng and Yu Wenqiu finished talking, Gu Wenjiao and Lin Sui also finished talking. The two of them reached an agreement. Gu Wenjiao gave Lin Sui the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. If she could not find the person in that time, she must leave immediately. Time was pressing, so Lin Sui did not dare to delay. Her old and angry voice resounded in the sky. Since you don't want the chance to commit suicide, don't let me find you. Otherwise, I will exterminate your entire sect. Although they were not the ones who killed Lin Sui, the crowd shivered in fear when they felt the cold aura emanating from Lin Sui's body. Qin Feng was a bit apprehensive. He was worried that Lin Sui would be able to find him. However, he quickly calmed down. Lin Sui had not even entered the 13 palaces, so how would she know that he was the one who killed Lin Sui? In fact, Qin Feng had a divine sense imprint placed on him in the northern sand continent. Thus, after killing Lin Shi, he had specially checked his body, but he had not found the divine sense imprint. However, for a 7-star sect like Gu Xiaoyao, the disciples had divine sense imprints on them. Once a disciple was killed, the elders of the sect could follow the divine sense imprint to find the murderer and take revenge. However, Lin Shi did not let his master place the divine sense imprint on him. This was because he was a genius disciple of a 7-star sect, Gu Xiaoyao, and also one of the 10 great young masters of the South Flat Continent. He did not believe that anyone in the South Flat Continent would dare to kill him. Actually, his thinking was correct. After all, Qin Feng was from the northern sand continent, or rather, China. At that moment, Lin Sui was using his divine sense to scan the crowd. However, he quickly furrowed his brows as he could not find the divine sense imprint. Elder Lin Sui, half an incense stick's time has passed. Gu Wenjiao reminded him indifferently. Lin Sui was so angry that he almost exploded on the spot. In the end, he forcefully suppressed his anger and coldly shouted at the crowd. Cultivators of the Void God realm and above, please step forward. The rest of the cultivators may leave. Lin Sui was also at his wit's end. He planned to use the elimination method to search again. The dead Lin Shi disciple had already reached the Void God realm level 4. Due to his outstanding aptitude, he cultivated top-notch cultivation techniques, and his true strength had reached the level of an ordinary late-stage Void God realm cultivator. Therefore, Lin Sui let the cultivators of the Void God realm and above go. Actually, he planned to let the early-stage Void God realm cultivators go, but after thinking about it, he still decided to let them stay. Qin Feng finally witnessed the cultivation level of the South Flat Continent. There were 200 to 300 cultivators of the Void God realm and above, and these were only the cultivators who came to participate in the 13 palaces. It was hard to imagine how many void gods there were in the entire South Flat Continent. However, after a short moment of astonishment, Qin Feng immediately pulled Yu Wenqiu and left with the crowd. Yu Wenqiu's palms were already wet with sweat. She had not been this nervous even in the level 9 soul nurturing array. After flying for hundreds of miles and arriving at the Panshan market, the two of them heaved a long sigh of relief. They knew that their lives were saved. Surviving in the South Flat Continent was really treacherous. Just as they walked into the bustling street, a shout came from behind them. Brother Qiao? It's really you! I'm so happy to see you again! The two of them looked back and recognized that it was Hao Yuele. Qin Feng immediately understood what Hao Yuele meant. The survival rate of the 13 palaces was only 30%, so it was not easy for him and Yu Wenqiu to come out alive. Qin Feng had a good impression of Hao Yuele, so he was happy to see him alive. It's great that Senior Hao is fine. Hao Yuele laughed. Haha! I didn't die because I was timid. After you left, I just soaked in the spirit spring to cultivate and didn't dare go anywhere else. I heard that some cultivators who came out of the hot spring died in the 7th palace. I didn't expect Brother Qiao and Sister Wenqiu to still be alive. He had no ill intentions. Qin Feng and Yu Wanqiu were true spirit cultivators in his eyes, and they were even weaker than him. He didn't expect them to come out alive after the adventure. Ha ha! We were lucky, or else we would have died long ago. Qin Feng laughed. Hao Yuele continued to say, after you left, the spirit qi in the spirit spring became sparser. Even the spirit qi in the 7th palace is not as dense as before. A few body condensation realm seniors said that the 7th palace's spirit vein could be stolen. I really don't know which almighty being could steal a spirit vein. Yu Wanqiu didn't know that Qin Feng had taken away the 7th palace's spirit vein. She had stayed on the green peak to cultivate, and Wind Element's ex-disciple, Ku Di, had come looking for trouble. By the time Qin Feng came back to save her, he had already hidden the spirit vein in the astral world. Qin Feng was speechless. He didn't expect himself to become a legendary almighty being. He realized that his guess was right. After that supreme-grade spirit vein was taken away, the 7th palace would no longer form a spirit spring. Friends who read books, you can search for the Blue Book bar to find this site immediately. Chapter 1900. By the way, Senior Hao, do you know who has entered the 8th palace? Qin Feng asked curiously. Hao Yuele shook his head. I'm not sure about that, but I heard that the 8th palace is a gray place without a trace of spirit qi. Even if someone really entered the 8th palace, they would immediately look for the array door to the 9th palace. Qin Feng and Yu Wanqiu were shocked. They suddenly realized that the level 9 soul nurturing array was the 8th palace, and Qin Feng was sure that other cultivators had entered the 8th palace. However, they had stayed in the 8th palace for more than a month and hadn't seen a single cultivator. It was clear that the level 9 soul nurturing array was bigger than they had imagined. Or, the other cultivators had been devoured by the spirits not long after entering the 8th palace. Yu Wanqiu was extremely shocked when she found out that she had entered the 8th palace hall during her exploration of the 13 palaces. She knew that the South Flat continent had existed for tens of thousands of years, but the number of cultivators who could enter the 13th palace could be counted on one's fingers. Anyone who could enter the 9th palace would be considered a true top-notch cultivator. She hadn't expected Qin Feng to bring her into the 8th palace and even take away the soul cultivation technique from the soul nurturing array. Brother Qiao, are you okay? Hao Yuele asked worriedly when he saw Qin Feng's blank expression. Qin Feng immediately came back to his senses and said with a smile, Senior Hao, I'm fine. Where are you going? Hao Yuele said. Every time the 13 palaces end, there will be a huge exchange meeting at Panshan Market Square. The purpose of this exchange meeting is for cultivators to exchange treasures. There will also be people auctioning treasures. I wonder if Brother Qiao and Sister Wanqiu want to go take a look. Qin Feng was interested. This kind of exchange meeting was not bad. Everyone had come out of the 13 palaces and had many treasures. However, some of the treasures that some cultivators had might not be what he needed, so he could use the exchange meeting to exchange for what he needed. Okay. Then I'll have to trouble Senior Hao to lead the way. When Qin Feng and the other two rushed to the exchange meeting, there were still a few hundred people gathered at the entrance of the 13 palaces. The lowest cultivation among them was at the early stage of the void spirit realm. There was also a group of body condensation cultivators and a few cauldron-filling almighty cultivators. They were the cultivators that Lin Sui had stayed behind to investigate. However, after a round of interrogation, they didn't find a single suspicious person. Elder Lin Sui, the time it takes for an incense stick to burn has passed. Please leave quickly. Wind God Valley's Vice Valley Master Gu Wanjiao said. Lin Sui was very unwilling. There was actually someone who dared to kill Gu Xiaoyao's genius disciple in the 13 palaces. However, the Wind God Valley had guarded the 13 palaces for a long time. He had no excuse to continue staying here. The cultivators who were left behind were all from the large sects in the South Flat continent. Quite a number of them were elders from 6-star sections. Their cultivation bases were not low. For them to be left behind for some inexplicable reason, they felt displeased. Fellow Taoists, I'm sorry. You can leave now, Lin Sui said. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone turned into light and disappeared. The wilderness returned to its usual tranquility. Gu Xiaoyao and the others had ugly expressions. After flying for some distance, one of the body condensation state cultivators said, Elder Lin Sui, are we just going to let this go? Humph! He dared to kill a disciple of my 7-star sect, Gu Xiaoyao. How can I let him off just like that? However, there is indeed no murderer among those people. I suspect that the murderer has already escaped. These words stunned the crowd. The murderer had already escaped? He had actually escaped right under Elder Lin Sui's nose. Lin Sui clearly saw through everyone's thoughts. She continued to say, Because there is a mistake in our thinking. The murderer is not among the cultivators I left behind. Instead, he is among those who left in advance. The crowd was even more shocked. The cultivators who left in advance were all below the void god realm. How could such an ant kill a disciple of Lin Shi? That was simply a fool's dream. However, Lin Sui had a serious expression on her face. You don't have to doubt it. Who says that a true spirit realm cultivator can't kill a void god? Lord Sect Leader was a heaven-defying genius in the past. Not to mention the group of powerful cultivators who became famous in the Divine Supreme Continent a long time ago. They can all kill people above their cultivation levels. Although it is rare to hear of a true spirit realm cultivator killing a void god realm cultivator in the past hundreds of years, it doesn't mean that such people don't exist. Her words were like a warning bell that awakened a few of them. The 4 of them were disciples of the 7-star sect, Gu Xiaoyao. The 7-star sect was the top sect in the South Flat Continent. It was precisely because they had been in a high position for a long time that they had developed a condescending personality. From their point of view, if even Gu Xiaoyao could not produce a true spirit realm cultivator who could kill a void god, then there would not be one in the entire South Flat Continent. Reality gave the 4 of them a loud slap in the face, telling them the most basic principle that there would always be someone better than you out there. Could it be that the other party is also a disciple of a 7-star sect? If that's the case, it narrows down the search area. There are only a few 7-star sects in the entire South Flat Continent. The body condensation stage cultivator analyzed after coming back to his senses. Lin Sui nodded. It must be a disciple of a 7-star sect. I can't believe that a lone cultivator or a disciple of a small sect could kill a Lin Shi cultivator above his cultivation level. If that's the case, the South Flat Continent is going to change. If that's the case, let's hurry to Panshan Market Square. There's going to be a gathering there. The murderer of the Lin Shi disciple might be attending. The body condensation stage cultivator said anxiously. There's no need to go. That cultivator definitely knows what we're thinking. I suspect that he changed his identity when he entered the 13 palaces. Now that he escaped, he returned to his original self. It won't be easy to find him. Lin Shi is too arrogant, and doesn't have a sex divine sense imprint on him. The few of them were helpless. Elder Lin Sui was right. However, when Lin Shi was unwilling to leave a divine sense imprint, no one cared. Nobody expected that someone would really dare to kill him. Don't go anywhere now. Return to the sect directly. You guys found many treasures in the 13 palaces this time. It's not good to stay outside. The expressions of the 4 people changed, revealing incomprehensible expressions. That body condensation state cultivator said, Elder Lin Sui, with you leading the team, I'm a body condensation state cultivator, and the 3 junior brothers are all hollow gods. We're considered the best in the entire South Flat State. Who would we be afraid of? A cold aura shot out from Lin Sui's body as she said coldly, Humph. Seems like Lin Shi's death hasn't woken you guys up yet. What's the point of our cultivation? I sense the Wind God Valley Master coming. Otherwise, why would I listen to Gu Wanjiao and leave just like that? Hearing the name of the Wind God Valley Master, the 4 of them stopped talking. At this moment, a shadow floated above the entrance of the 13 palaces. As for when he appeared, no one was able to see him. Gu Wanjiao was the only one left in the empty wilderness. When the shadow appeared in the void, Gu Wanjiao immediately cupped his fists and bowed towards the sky. "Welcome, Valley Master." Gu Wanjiao's face was as calm as water, but his heart was in turmoil. He didn't expect the Valley Master to actually appear. Logically speaking, the Valley Master should be in seclusion. Even Gu Wanjiao couldn't see through the Valley Master's cultivation. His figure was illusory and blurry. It was obvious that it was just a spirit of the Valley Master. "There's a problem with the 13 palaces." Gu Xuanzhen spoke. His voice seemed to come from tens of thousands of miles away. Gu Wanjiao was shocked. "Valley Master, I've been guarding here since the opening of the palaces. Did I notice anything strange?" Gu Xuanzhen said. "Someone took away the 7th palace's supreme-grade spirit meridian. Even the 8th palace is in turmoil." Gu Wanjiao revealed a look of disbelief. "Valley Master, how is this possible? There's a level 9 soul nurturing array in the 8th palace. Even I have to find the array door of the 9th palace immediately after entering. Who could have caused such an accident?" Gu Xuanzhen's figure became fainter and fainter. It seemed that his spirit could not support such a long flight. "You are in charge of investigating this matter. Find the person who took away the supreme-grade spirit meridian." Qin Fen didn't know that his trip to the 13 palaces had caused so many problems. 2 7-star sects had already started to look for him. At this moment, he and Hao Yuele had arrived at the big square of the Panshan market. This place could accommodate hundreds of thousands of people at the same time. As far as the eye could see, it was already a black mass of people. Don't miss this opportunity. Level 5 Spiritual Herbs Fire Cloud Great Spiritual Fruit, 7 stars Spiritual Herb, Blood Ginseng Essence, and 10,000 White Whiskers are on sale. High-grade refining materials, several supreme-grade spirit stones for sale. Level 6 Demon Core, refining materials. The square was already filled with stalls selling all kinds of items. Qin Fen scanned the area but didn't find what he wanted. However, at this moment, the spirit-seeking bug suddenly reacted strongly, making Qin Fen instantly excited. "Senior Hao, I'll go over there to take a look." "Okay. Brother Qiao, you go ahead. I like this golden treasure saber. Let's see if I can exchange it for it." Hao Yuele was standing in front of a weapon stall. Qin Fen pulled Yuanqiu to a stall in the corner. The stall owner was an early-stage true spirit cultivator. When he saw the 2 peak true spirit seniors coming over, he immediately revealed a respectful expression. "Seniors, are there any items that catch your eye? This junior will give it to you for free." It turned out that this early-stage true spirit cultivator's stall did not have any good treasures. It was basically some level 3 and level 4 spiritual herbs, as well as some level 4 beast race materials and low-grade pills. No wonder there were not many cultivators gathered around the stall. Even if there were cultivators passing by, they would leave after taking a look. The young stall owner clearly knew that the items he was selling were nothing in front of a peak true spirit cultivator, but he was a bit confused. This was because Qin Fen had clearly come to see the items in his stall. Qin Fen hadn't come looking for him, but the spirit-seeking bug's reaction had brought him here. When he glanced over the items in the stall, the light in Qin Fen's eyes dimmed. These items could not enter his eyes at all. "Little brother Qiao Feng, what do you like?" Yuanqiu's eyes were filled with doubt after she glanced over the items on the ground. Qin Fen thought there was a problem with the spirit-seeking bug's reaction. Just as he was about to leave, he discovered something he had never seen before among the many items. When he grabbed the palm-sized jade in his hand, he discovered that it was the treasure the spirit-seeking bug had sensed. Chapter 1901. Senior, my name is Cui Qing, and I am a rogue cultivator. The jade that you are interested in was left behind by my father, and I don't know what it is. If you like it, I can give it to you. The stall owner immediately expressed his goodwill when Qin Fen held the palm-sized jade in his hand and looked at it. Qin Fen's expression did not change, but his heart was in turmoil because he recognized the item in his hand. It was not an ordinary jade, but an immortal blossom stone. The reason why he knew about the immortal blossom stone was because he had learned from the system's limited edition interface that it was one of the main materials for crafting the immortal artifact Heaven's Rainbow. According to the system's introduction, the immortal blossom stone was an ordinary stone that existed in the immortal world. It was formed from the stone flowers of immortal flowers and plants. A stone flower that bloomed in the immortal world actually appeared on the divine continent. This was enough to shock Qin Fin. "Fellow Chui, name a price. I want this jade stone." Qin Fin suppressed his excitement, afraid that the secret of the immortal blossom stone would be discovered. Chui Ching hurriedly smiled and said, "Senior, please take it if you like it. Although this jade stone is beautiful, it does not have any spiritual energy. It is completely useless to me." Although the stall owner said that, Qin Fin knew that this stone was left behind by Chui Cheng's father. It was clear that Chui Cheng had feelings for it. The stall owner was probably worried about Qin Fin's powerful realm, so he had no choice but to give it away. Qin Fin had never liked to bully others. He immediately took out 3 bottles of pills and placed them on the stall. Just as he was about to leave, he suddenly thought of something and stopped. "All right, fellow Chui, did your father ever mention where he obtained this jade stone?" Chui Ching did not dare to open the jade bottle to check the pills in front of Qin Fin. He respectfully said, "Senior, my father did mention it once. I think he obtained it by chance in Ghost City. At that time, he felt that this jade stone was very beautiful, so he casually kept it on him." When Ghost City was mentioned, Yuanqiu's expression greatly changed, and her eyes were filled with shock. Qin Fin realized that this place was not simple. In order to prevent news of the immortal blossom stone from spreading, he did not continue asking Chui Ching. He planned to ask Yuanqiu about Ghost City later. After the two left, Chui Ching hurriedly grabbed the 3 jade bottles on the ground. He could see that Qin Feng was only in True Spirit Realm 6, but that peak True Spirit Realm 9 female cultivator's aura was a level lower in front of Qin Feng. This could only mean that Qin Feng was hiding his strength and his true cultivation was definitely stronger than that beautiful female cultivator. Chui Ching was looking forward to the elixirs given by an empty god realm cultivator. He quickly opened the 3 bottles of elixirs and was dumbfounded. His hands trembled and he almost spilled the elixirs. Spirit Pill, Rank 7 King Pill, the rank, the pill, the Master Realm, the pill. Pill, King Rank, the rank 7, the pill, the Master, the best for the Spirit Realm. King 5 Rank M. There, the rank and our pill. There are the breaking pills are. Chui Yang. Thun. Come, Chui Chin. Comma. Come. Yun Spirit. See you. Comma. Fin. Chui Ching immediately packed up his stall and left the square without looking back. He had wanted to set up his stall for spirit stones, but he never would have thought that he would get 3 bottles of King Pills. These 3 bottles of King Pills were the pill that he urgently needed. He believed that with the help of these pills, breaking through to the Void Spirit Realm was only a matter of time. Qin Fin purposefully gave away the 3 bottles of pills because they were what Chui Ching needed the most. After leaving the stall, Qin Fin secretly observed Chui Cheng's actions. Seeing him excitedly put away the pills and immediately leave, Qin Fin let out a sigh of relief. The secret of the immortal flower stone was too big, he could not relax at all. Just as Qin Feng got a celestial flower stone, Hao Yuelei also got a gold-grade treasured saber. Actually, a gold-grade spiritual weapon was not worth mentioning to Qin Feng now. He even had a few gold-grade long sabers in his storage ring. However, many of those gold-grade long sabers were obtained from killing people. Qin Feng could not give them to Hao Yuelei, as that would harm him instead. "Brother Qiao, did you find a treasure that satisfied you?" Hao Yuelei chuckled as he carried the golden saber. Qin Fin did not mention the immortal flower stone and smiled. "I looked around, but I didn't find anything that I needed." Hao Yuelei patted his shoulder and said, "Brother Qiao, don't be discouraged. It's just the beginning. Later, when there are more people, there will be an auction. There will be even more treasures at the auction. As long as you can't think of it, there is nothing that can't be auctioned." Hao Yuelei's eyes lit up as he spoke. It was obvious that he had participated in the auction after the 13 palaces had ended. Qianfen did not care too much. If they were to talk about treasures, the treasures in his storage ring could be called abundant. There were all sorts of true weapons, heaven-grade cultivation techniques, sovereign cultivation techniques like the Vajra arts and fortune of heaven and earth arts, as well as the ghost cultivator's rainbow ghost face soul banner, 3 spiritual veins in the star boundary, and one of the divine continent's 10 great immortal herbs, the tree of life. After thinking about it, Qianfen realized how rich he was. He thought about the soul cultivator secret book that he had obtained not long ago. If this rare cultivation technique was auctioned, it would probably cause a sensation in the entire Panshan market square. Qianfen's eyes suddenly lit up as he thought of the items he needed. They were the materials to forge the immortal artifact, Heaven Rainbow. Currently, he had only collected moon fragment stones and immortal flower stones. He had originally planned to leave with Yuanqiu, but in the end, Qianfen decided to stay and wait for the auction. Since he could find immortal flower stones here, perhaps he could find other refining materials at the auction. More and more people gathered in the vast and boundless plaza, and the atmosphere was extraordinarily lively. Yuanqiu had been busy cultivating in seclusion for the past few years, so she rarely had the opportunity to see such a huge trading scene. She was especially infatuated with the feeling of walking and stopping beside Qianfen. Soon, the auction began. The cultivators who had set up stalls stopped and gathered at the circular platform in the center of the plaza. This auction was a little different from the auctions Qianfen had participated in before. The auction here was mainly for exchanging necessities. The items being auctioned did not necessarily have to be bought at a high price. Many of them could be exchanged with other items. Qianfen could not help but be a little surprised when he saw the treasures being auctioned one by one. The items being auctioned were instantly several grades higher than the items at the stalls. There were even rank 6 and rank 7 spirit herbs being auctioned. There were also king pills and true weapons. However, although these items were rare and precious, they were nothing in Qianfen's eyes. He waited for a while and finally found the item he needed. It was the mold of a true weapon longsword. Bookmark for easier reading. Chapter 1902. Even in the South Flat Continent, true treasures were extremely rare, and Qianfen could tell at a glance that the cultivator on the stage was holding a sword model of a true treasure. Sword models were semi-finished swords that had not yet been forged, and the value of these semi-finished swords was far less than that of finished swords because they still needed to be forged and processed to unleash their power. But even in the South Flat Continent, tool refiners were extremely rare. Even if a cultivator obtained a sword model, they would treat it as trash and put it in their storage ring. This true treasure's sword model was even more useless because it had already been forged into a sword model. In other words, it could only be forged into swords. Cultivators who used sabers or spears could not use it at all. The value of such a good quality true artifact immediately dropped. In the eyes of some people, it was not even comparable to a finished golden sword. But in Qianfen's eyes, this sword model was a priceless treasure because he was planning to forge the immortal artifact Heaven's Rainbow and lacked a sword model. Although the system required an immortal artifact sword model to forge Heaven's Rainbow, the divine continent was just a cultivation continent. Where could Qianfen find an immortal artifact sword model? He planned to use a true treasure's sword model instead. I'm sure many fellow cultivators have already recognized it. That's right. I have a true treasure sword model in my hand. It's a treasure I just found on the 7th floor of the 13 palaces. Unfortunately, I don't know how to forge artifacts, and I'm too lazy to find a master refiner to forge this sword model. Why don't I exchange it for what I need? The things I need are elixirs and sword techniques. The elixirs must be at least grade 6 golden cores, and the sword techniques must be at the black grade technique level. If any fellow cultivators want to exchange, please come out quickly. Qianfen was pleasantly surprised. He had a grade 6 golden core and a black grade sword technique, and he had thrown them in his storage ring like trash. He felt that the sword model was already in his hands. Just as he had this thought, he heard an old voice. Elder Hu Chong, I'm Yi Bing from the Qilin Mountain. I'm willing to exchange a bottle of golden essence pills for your sword model. Qin Fen immediately recognized the old man who had spoken. When he and Yu Wanqiu had just entered the fifth palace, they had been robbed by the Heavenly Star sect. At that time, disciples from five-star sects would be let go. Yi Bing and the others from the Qilin Mountain had been let go. Qin Feng didn't care about Yi Bing fighting over the sword model. He was even waiting for more people to come forward to bid. Unexpectedly, after a while, no one else made a sound. It was as if this top-quality true artifact sword model was trash in everyone's eyes. Qin Feng quickly understood. This was a sword model of a top-grade true artifact. Because its grade was too high, it was almost at the level of an immortal artifact. So what if he obtained the sword model? After all, it was because its grade was so high that it was almost at the immortal artificing master refiner. I'm willing to pay 2 bottles of golden essence pills. After understanding the reason, Qin Fen immediately increased the price. The golden essence pill was only a level 8 or grade 6 golden core. It was used to help late sage king cultivators break through the Buddhist light. Qin Fen was too lazy to refine this kind of pill. He wanted to take out a bottle of king elixir, but after thinking about it, he felt that it was better to keep a low profile. After all, there were tens of thousands of cultivators gathered on the square. It would be troublesome if he was targeted. Qin Fen had already scanned the square, but he did not see Wan Qifeng. He had offended Wan Qifeng in the secret medicinal valley of the Sixth Palace, and that old man was at least at the late Void God realm and a level 5 spirit formation master. If he encountered him, Qin Fen would leave immediately. The Qilin Mountain elder thought that he had already gotten the sword model. He was feeling very pleased, but he suddenly heard Qin Fen's voice and was immediately angered to death. Fellow cultivator, may I know which sect you are from? Yi Bing was not in a hurry to increase the price and stared coldly at Qin Fen. Qin Fen obviously knew what he meant. This old man wanted to use the prestige of the 5-star sect Qilin Mountain to suppress him. This move might be useful in front of others, but it was completely useless against Qin Fen. I'm just a rogue cultivator. Elder Yi, what's the matter? Qin Fen said indifferently. Disdain flashed in Yi Bing's eyes. He thought that a mere rogue cultivator dared to compete with him. He was simply courting death. I'm interested in this sword model. I'm Yi Bing, a 5-star sect Qilin Mountain's little elder. You better back off. Yi Bing's attitude was terrible, and his tone was commanding. If he had negotiated with Qin Fen nicely, Qin Fen might have replied with a better attitude. But it was clearly impossible now. What kind of place is Qilin Mountain? This is the first time I've heard of it. What does it have to do with me if you're interested in this sword model? If you can take out more items than me, I'll let you have it. If you can't, you better not embarrass yourself. Qin Fen's words caused the crowd to discuss. From everyone's point of view, he was only in the 6th true spirit realm, and the Qilin Mountain's elder Yi Bing was at the 3rd hollow god realm. Not to mention that the Qilin Mountain was a 5-star sect and Qin Fen was an unknown rogue cultivator. They didn't know how this brat had the confidence to challenge Yi Bing. Is that brat crazy? He offended a 5-star sect for a sword model. It seems he's done for. That youth looks a bit familiar? I remember now. 3 months ago, when the 13 palaces opened, a peak true spirit realm cultivator tried to steal his jade token and was instantly killed by him. Some people recognized Qin Fen, but even so, not many people thought he would win. After all, he had instantly killed a peak true spirit realm cultivator, and Yi Bing was at the 3rd hollow god realm. They were not on the same level. Yi Bing was about to explode from anger, wishing he could slap Qin Fen to death on the spot. However, this auction had an unwritten rule that no one could fight during the auction. Even if there was a large grudge, it had to be resolved after the conference ended. Since he couldn't kill Qin Fen right now, Yi Bing planned on using resources to crush him. A trivial true spirit realm cultivator dared to compete with him? He was simply overestimating himself. Senior Hu Chong, I'm willing to pay 3 bottles of golden yuan pills. I hope you can give me the sword model. Yi Bing proudly glared at Qin Fen. From his point of view, 3 bottles of golden yuan pills for an almost useless sword model was already a high price. He believed that this brat wouldn't increase the price any further. Qin Fen ignored Yi Bing, so he didn't see his provocative gaze. Qin Fen paid attention to Hu Chong. Even someone as arrogant as Yi Bing was respectful to Hu Chong. It could be seen that this gray-haired old man's identity was not simple. After looking carefully, Qin Fen thought of Hu Chong. Back when he and the rest entered the medicinal valley mystic realm of the Sixth Palace, the other cultivators realized that the spiritual herbs in the herb garden couldn't be harvested and immediately looked for the exit. Afterwards, Wan Qifeng intentionally activated the exit array to let everyone out. Hu Chong was among the crowd and even thanked Wan Qifeng when he left. It could be seen that Hu Chong was a simple and honest person. He didn't notice Wan Qifeng's narrow-mindedness at all. At the same time, Qin Fen remembered what Hu Chong said before he left. He was a disciple of the Sky Sword sect of the South Flat Continent. Qin Fen suddenly realized why Yi Bing was so respectful to Hu Chong. It was because he couldn't compare to Hu Chong in terms of cultivation or backing. Senior Hu Chong, I'm willing to pay a bottle of spirit breakthrough pills. Qin Fen cupped his fists and said. Exclamations came from the crowd. A sword model that looked like a useless piece of trash was actually being exchanged for spirit breakthrough pills of Class 3, Grade 7 Imperial Elixir quality? Was this guy sick in the head? Yi Bing also felt that Qin Fen had overestimated himself. However, he couldn't vent his pent-up anger. Actually, a bottle of spirit breakthrough pills was already more than what he wanted. But if he backed out now, wouldn't he be slapping himself in the face? A mere rogue cultivator of the true spirit realm wants to compete with this old man in wealth? Can you afford it? Yi Bing glared at Qin Fen and shouted coldly. I'm willing to pay a bottle of spirit transformation pills. The spirit transformation pill was a grade 4, grade 7 imperial elixir quality, 1 level higher than the spirit breakthrough pill. It was used by early-stage true spirit realm cultivators to break through. Not long ago, Qin Fen gave Cui Qing a bottle of auxiliary spirit pills for free. That auxiliary spirit pill was 1 level higher than the spirit transformation pill. Everyone thought that Qin Fen would be scared away and wouldn't even dare to fart. However, they heard his calm voice. 1 bottle of auxiliary spirit pills! The crowd sighed. Even a fool could see that Qin Fen and Yi Bing weren't auctioning, they were clearly bickering. That true spirit realm brat is quite bold. Auxiliary spirit pills are used to help middle-stage true spirit realm cultivators break through. They are pills that he urgently needs, but he actually used them to exchange for battle chi for a piece of trash. Otherwise, why would they say that there's something wrong with that brat's head? Not only did he lose his wealth, he also offended the Qilin Mountain. It's a thankless task. How many rounds do you think that youth can last? I bet that as long as Elder Yi Bing raises the price one more time, he will immediately run with his tail between his legs. Good brat, let's see how long you can last. I'll bid a bottle of spirit breakthrough pills, Yi Bing said angrily. The sword model that was originally exchanged for a grade 8, grade 6 golden elixir had been exchanged for a bottle of grade 5, grade 7 imperial elixir in the blink of an eye. Yi Bing was about to die from anger. However, she saw that Qin Fen's expression didn't change, as if he wasn't the one bidding. A bottle of void breakthrough pills and an earth-grade saber skill manual. Qin Fen was tired of shouting and decided to kill Yi Bing in one go. As a grade 5, grade 7 imperial elixir, he could easily refine void breakthrough pills. Moreover, he had already refined over a dozen bottles of void breakthrough pills in the Medicinal Valley's secret realm. As for earth-grade saber skills, Qin Fen thought of the invisible blade. The Shadowless Saber was a modified version of Broken Hung Mountain's Shadowless Sword consummate skill. It barely reached the level of an earth-grade martial skill. Moreover, Broken Hung Mountain was a sect in the northern Sand region. Thus, Qin Fen was not afraid that the Shadowless Saber would be discovered. A bottle of void breakthrough pills and an earth-grade saber skill manual. The crowd went completely crazy. This was already considered a huge sum. He could exchange it for any treasure, but he actually used it to exchange for a top-notch true weapon sword model? Some people even started to suspect that Qin Fan might be able to refine that supreme-grade true weapon sword model. However, the moment this thought surfaced, it was rejected by everyone. Everyone knew that even the best weapon refiner in the entire South Flat continent couldn't refine a top-notch true weapon. You're tuning into the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.